let's get live here, ladies and gentlemen. What happened? We had some tragic news?
No, we're downsizing our IRS. Let's fucking go.
Oh, wow.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, I did see that. That's going to be interesting.
Let's fucking go. Let's do that. Anyway, sorry, different show.
Nah, yeah, you're good. You're good.
I just saw the breaking news. I was like, hell yeah, let's fucking go. Anyway, sorry.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and I do want to start off by saying, if things are a little weird today, one, I'm wearing my classic headset today, right? So, my rigs. I don't know where my other rig adapter is. Well, I'm pretty sure I could find it, but hey, again, you're right before the show. You kind of want to start on time, the best ways when you can, and I got to kind of forgo that right now. So, with that in mind, everything is extremely loud to me right now. I got one ear off, so that's something to keep in mind. If you guys hear some feedback from my mic, that's what it is. So I just kind of wanted to lead with that. But we did have somebody come through the very beginning, and it is the good conductor himself, Decado, coming through with the 20 bomb. Oh, do you want to handle his 20 bomb real quick?
I'll handle it. I'm gonna try to make not.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen, aboard the Splitters Hype Train. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, depending on where you hopped on the train in the world. Welcome to Living SplitScreen. We do have a special announcement to start off the day, as my fellow conductor, Mr. Steel Rain, just announced to everybody the one and only Decado flew overhead. He brought a mother of all bombs on in here with the 20 freaking bomb. He got on the court and did a couple back-to-back dunks. That's right, one reverse, one windmill. He's keeping us ad free in 2025. Hashtag no beans. The goal still is always 69, but Decado doing his best. He added 4 cars of new splitters aboard this train this morning, and all in one shot got us from a Mach 2.0 to a Mach 4.0 to start the freaking day. That's how we do it around here. Decado, the one and only. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. Choo-choo. And let's not forget the Brett Bingham stopping on by with a little $2 super chat. The one and only Brett Bingham comes through and says, the stashes are real. Laughing out loud. A little inside there, Brett Bingham from PM in the PM on Thursday night, because a couple people in the chat were talking about Avowed and talk about the 2 porn stashes. So that you are able to put on your characters. And sure enough, he had to send me a screenshot and show me that they were freaking real. And those are some absolutely incredible stashes for sure.
Real quick, Pone, while I'm thinking about it, and we don't have to go full diatribe right now, but I wanted to get your opinion on this real quick, because I'm pretty sure you were probably more aware about Avowed, especially some of the underlying mechanics and stuff like that. But how do you feel about not being able to like steal, or not, like, sure, you can be evil. Like, you can, I guess you can make some bad choices. I'm not that far in the game, so I don't know. From what I've heard other people say is that you can choose sides and everything else. You can play into the evil role. But as somebody who is a Bethesda fan, an Obsidian fan, from what I was hearing as well, Outer Worlds does not have some of these things, right, that you would typically expect in that style of game, right? Those RPGs that they kind of make. How do you feel about not being able to, just on a very loose end, we can always get deeper into it, but how do you feel about it? Does that kind of turn you off of it, knowing that you can't steal, you're not really acknowledged for it? I know, because people were bringing up the point that the reason why it's not an issue in the game is because you're the envoy, right? As they describe in this game, I guess because you're the envoy and you're the way the hierarchy works and everything, people can't really question you. And you do get a lot of those vibes. And I think it would have been easier to accept for people if they would have kind of told you that, because you're the envoy, you're going to have special privileges. You are kind of figuring that out, right? But how do you feel about that? Does that kind of turn you off of it a bit? Does that kind of make you look at it a little bit differently, knowing, because I at least got from you that you felt like some of that was going to be in here, right? To have that versatility.
Yeah, we actually had this conversation because there was early talks, early previews, Steel, when people first got hands on with Avowed, that they did mention that there was no thieving, there was no robbery in this game, which is different from all their other games. And we had this conversation here, and I said that was definitely a negative. That was a negative for me because I love to steal. Now, does it destroy the whole game for me? No, of course not. But I do think it is it takes away a part of the aspect that Obsidian has brought to a smaller degree than Bethesda, freedom to do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Killing the non-killing of NPCs that I have found out as well.
That too.
Yeah, that is also a negative in my view.
Yeah, now, you have no effect on the NPCs.
Right, and I hate that because again, in Outer Worlds you can do those things, right?
Okay,
and you can.
I didn't even know it was possible in Outer Worlds.
Absolutely can. You absolutely can. I've also heard, and again, I will wait. I'm one of those dudes.
I've played almost 3 hours of it, so.
Right. You played almost 3 hours. I've watched some people playing it. What was presented as the ability to kind of turn bad, and again, I'm sure there's some decisions here that you can make that are probably against what would be considered the good choices to play the good role. I'm sure there is some of that. I'm sure there's consequences with the amount of endings that are supposed to be.
There is consequences.
I definitely think there is.
There are choices, for sure.
But I do feel like, from what people are saying, it is still a limited experience if you do want to play the bad role. If you want to absolutely turn against everything that you're supposed to be, again, playing for in this game, as far as the story goes, it still feels like they might have limited that down. Again, in Outer Worlds, bro, you could turn Traitor out the gate. Like first hour, okay. You can go against everything that you're supposed to be doing. Like you can, like flat out make that choice. So for me, that is a disappointment. It is going to be a disappointment when I play it. However, again, does that take away from the whole experience? No. Too many people are talking about so many good stuff, and I've been watching people play. I've been watching people post these videos and stuff. And the stuff that I'm hearing, again, exploration is off the charts, supposedly. Both the verticality that we saw and just the 100%. General rewarding exploration. If you go explore, you are going to find things. Okay, well, again, that's one of my biggest things that I love about RPGs. So if they're going to nail that, they're going to nail that. I have seen some of the dialogue. I think
they did really well with the feeling of, hey, I see this over here. Let me go over here. Oh, there's a chest over here. Oh, this is something that Lord Cognito spoke to as well when they did their initial preview. Shout out to the Iron Lords, where they had mentioned, Cog had mentioned that, the sound of the shimmering from the treasure chest. Right. Yeah. That's something else. It does do something for you mentally when you hear the shimmering and you're like, oh, where is it? Right. The possibility that it could be a piece of armor, it could be a weapon, it could be whatever else the case might be. I will say, and again, hearing you kind of solidify some of the things that from Outer Worlds, I do find myself, fortunately or unfortunately, I think this is just because maybe I'm coming off of Starfield, going to everybody and trying to loot everybody like there's going to be something on their person, and that's not the case either.
Yeah,
it's very not all enemies drop loot or have loot on them, right?
I remember them
there's beams of light and there's stuff like, but I still find myself, because it's so like in between, it feels weird a little bit, you know what I mean? Because again, I feel like it's putting me in that mentality, right? That Bethesda mentality that I just got into coming off of, a modded Skyrim playthrough, and then also playing Starfield essentially fresh, no mods or anything like that, and just seeing what Bethesda does with their games, and then you jump into an Obsidian game. Again, I had some of the details from like an Outer Worlds, but it's from the outside looking in, like I'm peeping through a window. So that's why I wanted to kind of get your thoughts, because I know you've played Outer Worlds. You've at least, put some time into it. So I kind of just wanted to get your frame of reference, because again, the not being able to really turn evil seemingly, or not being able to affect the NPCs, not being able to pickpocket, thievery, like that type of stuff. I kind of just wanted to see.
And I didn't want to go off. We could save the rest of the conversation, because I was kind of going off again. Yeah, no, and yeah, Shane, I can't wait. He said, "Pong, you will love Avowed. It's amazing. 9 hours in, and I'm still
It's a
in
good
dog
time.
show." That's the thing I've heard too, Shane. Is a lot of people going. We talked about this last week, where I heard that this was like you could breeze through it in 15, 20 hours, and I'm like, I don't get you people. Like,
Unless again, I have 3
Without
hours
time
in. I have 3 hours in, and unless the story just all of a sudden ramps up very quick and it's just story. I don't see it taking that short amount of time. But again, if you're mainlining it, then maybe that's a little bit different.
But I've seen the same.
I've
seen other people talk about how they spent like all this time exploring in like one area, like the first town, like 5 hours, 9 hours. Shane saying he's that far in and still hasn't even left the main town. Like that's me. Right. So when I hear people say that's when I go, oh, this is definitely going to be up my alley. Like no matter what. Right.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Yeah. Like I said, I've seen some of the dialogue. There is some of my new word zoomerification in this. There is some very terrible writing in this.
It's not even close. If you want to use Veilguard as like a comparison, right? Yeah. It's nowhere close to that. I will say the story has me more interested.
Right. The story is going to be dope. I've seen some of the beats already. And again,
the intro's cool.
That lore is already out. But again, when I see characters use the term yikes, I'm fucking done. Bro.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree with people on that. When you have games that take place during a certain time period, I would like you to play into. It's a fantasy world, but you still have a time period in mind, right? Yes, you know what I'm saying? Like ideally, it's not today's era. And I think that's the point that you make and other people make, where it's like you're using modern terms in a world that's not quote unquote, it doesn't come across modern. It doesn't look modern. It doesn't seem like these people would speak like this, right? But I understand why they do it. They still want to try to connect with other people.
And to be fair, again, this is an old guy thing, and I'm sorry. Some people just go with the times, and there's no big issues. But for me, it really is jarring because teen fiction, high fantasy, D&D nowadays, the way that Dungeons and Dragons is played by the younger generations and shit, they do that. They use the modern fucking lingo in there. Like it's not the high fantasy that I grew up on anymore for a certain set of people. And so they are bringing in writers that do write that way for the younger audiences. I think that there's parts of the younger audience that they are missing out on that still love the classic high fantasy, such as Tolkien, etc. And would like to see that maintain that kind of illusion that we are set, even if it's not real world, even if it is a fantasy world, that we are set in a certain time period, like you said. It gives us the vibes of the Middle Ages, right? Or whatever the case may be, and that people would like to maintain that. But I think there is a group of younger audience that they are writing for that think that that's cool, that you use that current terminology.
It depends.
World. I just, again, when I see things like, I'm like, Jesus, man, but anyways, neither here nor there. I'm still fucking hyped as fuck to play this game, obviously. Again, this is one of my games, and everything that I've seen combat-wise to steal from third person or first person is both. They're all looking really great.
Pong, and I'll tell you this.
I saw your post.
It's one of those. It has been one of those games where I've popped it into first person. I didn't know I could do it on the fly. I come to find out that apparently it's been changed, where you can press in the right stick. I didn't know that. I thought I had to go through the menu.
They should have made that a big thing.
That was kind of annoying. I was like, damn, if I want to like go in and out, I can. I got to go in the menu. It's like I'm forced to make it. And really, it's not that big of a deal, but in the precipice of gameplay, it is an effect, right? But I did when I dropped into first person, I will say I did find myself when I went back out to the third person, kind of like, although I enjoy the third person, I did find myself kind of like, this might be a little better than first. It might. We'll see. I want to play with it a little bit more. Again, I got about 3 hours of gameplay that you guys are going to see live here today as well. That's what's going to be in the background. So, hey, no spoilers unless you don't want to see the beginning of the game. Then, hey, to each their own. I get it. Hopefully, you can still listen to us on the audio side of things, but we are here and locked in with living Split Screen, ladies and gentlemen, and you're locked into episode 177. Living Split Screen is the home of that RTS view. What does that mean, you might ask? It's that real-time strategy where we pull ourselves out of the world, look at the darker crevices of the map, that's the gaming industry and entertainment. Well, we like to roll that in there as well, and pull our resources together so we can not only build a foundation up for us here at Living Split Screen, but also for the potential of those 2 to 3 billion gamers that are out there. Not only that, this is also the home of that ECP, educated consumer perspective, because me and Pong do not work in the gaming industry. We're two dudes with plenty of gaming knowledge behind us, and we like to bring our professional knowledge, whether that be from our work history or whatever the case, bring some business knowledge in and try to hash out, maybe play a little armchair CEO on what is happening in the industry. I'm one of your hosts, Steel Rain. That T is a 7 everywhere. Again, as you notice, those eyes are off of there because they're still trying to make those adjustments and whatnot. And we got some things to get into. I think a big crux of the show is going to be the PlayStation state of play. And I know a lot of people are kind of down on it on a first party perspective. I definitely understand and agree, but I like to be consistent, at least in how I feel about the industry, how I look at games, and the state of play to me was an 8 out of 10. I was kind of teetering between 7 and an 8, but when I really broke down all the games that pulled my interest as a gamer, there was too many things for me to give it anything less, and I thought it was decently well paced, man. So we'll get more into that. We'll talk about the games that were presented as well that seemed to be interesting, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun today, man. Again, games are on the horizon. Avowed is the current thing that I've hopped into, mainly because I found myself the other day when I jumped on Final Fantasy. And again, Final Fantasy is one of those games. It's not bad, right? Not at all. But I did find myself, because it does take effort to play the game. I mean, it takes effort to play a lot of these games. What I mean by that, because it has more of the, let's say, story-driven side of it. And again, I've been playing with people this week, kind of just being funny, saying that, hey, you know, from what I've seen, because there were some games that were presented at this state of play, to where I essentially said, some of these games have more gameplay shown in 2 minutes than I've played in 10 hours of Final Fantasy 16. You know, yes, I am being somewhat funny with saying that, but I'm also being very genuine in that and how I feel about it, right? Now, because I am not the gamer that I just want to run through all the story missions back to back to back to back, I found myself having a hard time continuing with Final Fantasy 16 because it does take some time to get into, right? It's like I have to put myself in a certain mind state. I'm not at the end of the game where it's all action and I can just go practice combos and all that stuff. No, that's not what it is. And none of these enemies are even remotely difficult enough for any of that to be necessary. But I found myself when I played it the other day, because I played it for another hour or so, just kind of questioning my time. I was just my time with it. I was like, do I really want to play Final Fantasy right now? You know, if I continue to play this, you know, I got Avowed coming up. I really want to at least talk to the people about Avowed, right? At least for Living Split Screen, if anything, to give people kind of my opinions on it, because I am the newer Bethesda fan. And Pong giving you his thoughts about Avowed and Bethesda games and everything is one thing, right? You pretty much can have an idea of what you're going to get. Of course, Pong is always going to still give you the, you know, authenticity that you get here on Living Split Screen, and that he brings in all places. But Pong has also admitted that he does have a bias towards Bethesda, right? So for me, I don't have that. I am on the complete opposite end. I've been somebody that came here, is like, you know, Avowed, I'm interested in it, but I don't know how I feel about it. I want to get it in hand. And I have put down Final Fantasy 16 because the other thing that I don't like to do is if I'm at a certain point in a game, I can't put it down, right? Because you're kind of too far. You're like at a place of no return. If I put it down now, then I may never go back to it, right? And that might be the case with Final Fantasy 16. Shit, it happened with Ghost of Tsushima, and I haven't been back. Nonetheless, But I'm not far enough of Final Fantasy 16 that if I came back later to it, that I would completely forget where I'm at, what I'm doing, what had happened up to this point. And the game actually, I'll give FF16 this credit, it does well with giving you background information, right? They have some in-game kind of history and stuff that you can kind of go through. They have this map to kind of tell you what your progression was like, where you went. It's a lot of cool stuff, man. So for that reason, I said, you know what? Monster Hunter Wilds is coming up. As you guys know, I'm going to continue to put that out there. It was shown at the State of Play again. But I said, you know what? I want to get a little bit of time with Avowed in because I wanted to at least talk to the people about it and see how I felt about it, getting the early access. And if I like it, I'll continue to play it, try to beat it before Monster Hunter Wilds. If I don't, then it is what it is. Little sneak, little tease. Well, matter of fact, I'll just tell you. And then I'll probably let Pong lead off with everything that he's been playing and getting into off the Hills Mile. We'll do a little reverse this time. So Avowed, real quick, because we kind of opened the show up with it. Let's add into it a little bit. Avowed for me, at 3 hours in, you will see all the gameplay live on screen for you guys that I have put into it this far. I am here to tell you that Avowed feels pretty goddamn good to play. It actually, I think Avowed feels better to play than Skyrim, as an example. Now, again, older game, comparative to a newer game, and it may not be saying much because the combat's not super complicated, but the flow of the combat and what Obsidian has done in this game so far, at least from what I've experienced, it just feels good in that moment-to-moment combat. I find myself kind of not only wanting to explore, but also looking for my next fight kind of thing, right? Between being able to melee with a sword, shield, swap into a different set with a tap of the Y button, like I'm swapping a gun as an example, and having a whole different weapon that I can use, it is very addictive. You know, right now I think I'm playing with a tome or the book, the grimoire, excuse me. I'm playing with a grimoire and a musket. Just got this musket. It shoots slow as hell. I got dexterity on 5 right now. Again, I'm still earlier on. I put all my points in dexterity so far. I'm trying to, whatever I can do to swing as fast as I can and shoot as fast as I can, because I kind of want to do like a bow, like a mage bow kind of thing, right? That's the kind of gameplay style that I want to go for, more at range than being up close on enemies. That stuff feels pretty cool. It feels pretty good, I should say. Playing in third person, you can still feel the impact. For an example, from like the musket, when you shoot those shots, you can feel it. It translates into the screen really well. It seems like it is fun to use, but I don't think I'm going to continue to use the musket once I find a better weapon. I wouldn't upgrade it personally. Not that it's bad, because it is the strongest weapon that I have right now. But I really do like the melee combat as well, at least for this style of game, because it is also very, I would say pretty responsive, and it just feels heavy, right? When you're using a two-handed, like I just got this two-handed hammer yesterday, picked it up off of this dude that I beat. Went out, found the next little lizard man that I can find, and hit him with a 2-piece with this big ass hammer. And every swing, it's like you can just feel the heaviness of the weapon that you're using. Or I also was doing some sort of shield. Have the broadsword in my right hand, shield in my left. I just unlocked parrying, so I now can parry attacks. I haven't been able to use it yet, but even in this game, blocking somebody with the shield, hitting them with the broadsword, doing your fast attacks, doing your heavy attacks, there is a flow to it that is appealing to me thus far, and has me interested to see what else this game is going to give me. Again, just the fact of having those separate loadouts, knowing that I can use a wand, I can dual wield wands, I can get a grimoire and a wand, I can use a grimoire and a sword, I can do whatever, kind of mix and match and do kind of whatever. It does leave it very versatile as far as what you can approach, and that is an attractive thing. I've also started unlocking some other abilities as well, and seeing how that flows into it has been extremely interesting. I do think that I'll probably end up continuing to play Avowed until we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll be able to beat it this upcoming week. Maybe I won't. Hopefully I'll be able to beat it before Monster Hunter Wilds. But this is the game that I'm going to play right now, instead of FF16. I know I was talking to y'all about FF16 last week, but I do think that Xbox has a good game on their hands here, man. To me, I don't think the 8 that the game has gotten so far is a bad score, right? And I heard other people talking about this as well. But people are still trying to treat it like it's a middling game. And again, not every game is going to be the most bombastic experience that you have ever played. And this just being seemingly in that Obsidian ilk that people speak to, this has given me a window to see some of that, right? Kind of like how I had with BioWare playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition, playing all 3 games back to back. Years later, I was able to get that true peek into BioWare. And of course, I played other BioWare games up to that point, but not like most people, right? I was playing BioWare games being unaware I was playing some BioWare games, right? So with that, can't wait to get into it some more. I think even with 3 hours in, I still don't know I have enough of a baseline to properly talk about the game outside of just on a very basic level, right? Like we had mentioned earlier, no, the game doesn't have pickpocketing. No, you can't like kill NPCs and stuff like that. So if that's a turn off for you, then hey, it is what it is. I've been known in some of these Bethesda games to make the wrong choice and kill some people that I felt like they looked at me wrong and, had whole areas go beef with me, right? That's kind of was my experience with New Vegas. And also was a turn off. I was like, no, I don't want to play no more. No.
You went into the
What
first settlement that you found.
I did. I went to the first settlement.
And shot somebody in the head.
I did. Because I didn't think they were about that life. When you've never played a game like those games, you don't expect the repercussion that the game is going to give you for doing certain things and then not saving beforehand, like all that stuff. So Avowed has been definitely an interesting experience. You did warm. Avowed has definitely been an interesting experience so far. I can't wait to get into it a bit more. It's definitely pulled my attention more than I was expecting, right? And I think it's dope for me to be able to come here, chop it up with you guys and just get a little bit of time in with it. So that's been the main crux of what I've been into. Haven't really played anything else. I'm still trying to get stuff set up for Monster Hunter Wilds. Didn't really get to work on the Discord or anything this week. It is what it is. But that's pretty much it. I haven't played the Wilds beta this week. I'm just going to hold off because if I'm going to be jumping back into Monster Hunter, it's going to be 100% Monster Hunter full bore, right? So got to be very honest with that. And again, if I don't beat Avowed by the time Monster Hunter comes out, then Avowed just may not get beaten. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. But enjoying what I've gotten into so far. I do think I'll be able to get into. Again, it doesn't seem like it is one of those Skyrim-esque games as far as size goes. So it seems like something that'll be manageable. But it just depends, because if this game continues to get me to explore more and get interested in doing some of the side quests and stuff like that, like I just did this side quest where I helped some girl with some lizard men in her house or whatever. Went in there and took care of him for her. I could have told her no and just ignored her. That's the other thing too. You have that choice, right? You could completely just miss out on this NPC. Just like this girl that's in prison right here, you could just completely ignore her and go about your life, right? Now, I don't know what repercussion that has. Do you still get to the end goal? I don't know. But there does seem to be some good choice in here. So I want to see how that's going to end up impacting my story and to kind of go from there. So, let's see what else we got. Crow, real quick in chat says FF16 is fun for the first 30 hours still. I didn't beat it. And Crow, I don't think it gets fun until after the first 10 hours. It's interesting. It's an interesting experience. It's an interesting experience for sure. But once that wears off, you have, it's not basic because there is a combat flow there. It can be deep. You can mix and do different types of stuff, but there's just something about like the side content, especially, hey, go over here and get 3 of these things. Go over here and do these things. Hey, we have a very straightforward weapon progression. You just level up, you get the next weapon. Well, you'll find it eventually, and that's your next weapon for however long. These weapons don't do anything for your build. They're here. And so some of those things were a turn off to me. Not like, oh, I'm never going to touch this again, but it just, when I find myself kind of sitting back thinking like, should I keep going? That's a sign for me, right? So that's kind of where I'm going at with that. And Decado says, I like Forspoken combat better than FF16. I won't say that. Forspoken is good, and I think it is slightly underrated. I think Final Fantasy 16's combat is a bit better. Not by much though. Not by much. But Paul, what you been into, man? What you been playing? What you been rocking and rolling? How you feel about my Avowed take, bro?
Bro, I just love the fact that you did jump in. I love the fact that the third person option got you. And actually made it a possibility that you're going to jump in. It's even cooler that you decided to go with the early access and actually get into it in between. Obviously, like you said, Monster Hunter Wilds, which I know is going to be your main, but I'm just impressed, brother, that you jumped into an Obsidian game, and that you actually are finding some enjoyment and are starting to see some of the stuff that I have talked about and that other people that are fans of Obsidian and Bethesda games do talk about. And again, you jumped into Starfield and obviously had a pretty damn good time with that as a Bethesda side thing. But I just love you branching out, brother. I love you branching out, and I love to hear what you're saying. Because again, overall, like we talked about, some of the kind of small disappointments that I knew up front going into Avowed wasn't going to have. But again, you are just reinforcing the other things that I've been hearing from the people who are having a good time. Now, there's a whole contingent of people, obviously, that didn't have a great time with Avowed, and that's why I kind of settled in at 80, 81. But I kind of figured that was going to be my guess. My guess was literally going to be 81. For Avowed. I kind of knew it was going to sit in there. But again, just too many pluses, and I'm an Obsidian fanboy. I think they're fantastic at what they do, and hearing you kind of jump in and kind of get that feeling. And obviously the wifey's been watching you play, which is always good because I know she was a huge New Vegas fan, which is Obsidian. I love that shit, man. And I love that you're trying something like this. So it's good. I can't wait till next week. Just because I didn't jump into early access again. Had they had DLC, planned the early access, I would have bought. I just didn't care about the art book or the soundtrack. So for me, it just wasn't worth it this time around to get the 5 days early access. It is tough because this is one of the few games that is giving me FOMO with people. But I have so much to play right now, and with life being the way it is, where I don't during the week have those large chunks of time anymore like I did at one point. I said no. I'm just not going to do it. So yeah, Steel. So on the flip side of that, I guess I'll just start out the gate. Because I saved my money and did not buy the early access to Avowed and sitting and waiting on it, I went and supported another game, which was part of the State of Play, which was Shadow Drop during the State of Play, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, Steel. And that's Warriors Abyss from Omega Force and Koei Tecmo, coming out of nowhere. Never expected in any way, shape, or form to have the creators of some of my favorite Musou fighters, Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Warriors Orochi, which I have, I don't know how many hundreds, thousands of hours between all of them over their entire lifespan in. I never thought I would see Omega Force come out with a isometric view rogue-like version of Dynasty Warriors. Like, this was not on my radar. I never even thought this could be a thing. But the State of Play, I was minding my own business, as I said in my post, at work, lurking in Mav's co-stream, listening in the background kind of to what was being shown. And the next thing I hear is Omega from Omega Force, and I'm like, excuse me, and I look over. I'm like, wait, we just got Dynasty Warriors Origins. What are they doing here? Is this DLC? What the hell is this going to be? And here enough, they show it right away as an isometric view, and I'm like, what is this? And then, sure enough, it's a roguelike, and they shadow drop it. So yes, I came home that night, and I was planning on rewatching the show in 4K and getting a good look at it. I didn't, because that game was available, and it was $25 for the base game. I was like, I never need the alternate costumes. I think they cost too much. Not changing their ways, even with this type of game, which again, you don't even really get to see your costumes up close because it's an isometric view. I mean, you could tell, but I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to spend extra money. And I thought to myself, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't buy Avowed early access. So hey, $25, let's get into Warriors Abyss. Warriors Abyss is exactly what it showed it to be. It's deeper than you think it is, but they still give you the wide selection as you open up the characters of all the different famous mythological characters from that time period set in Dynasty Warriors that you can choose from as your main character. And you start your run straight up roguelike, start your run, and you get to choose rewards for the end of each run, and it depends on what kind of level you chose to pick in to go into, because you get the choice of 3 different levels after the first one, and each time thereafter, and there's a total of 8 rounds, if you want to call them rounds, for each main level. And you get to choose what reward you want to try to go get out of the next level. And they kind of show you and give you an idea of what you can go get. So sometimes you can go get these red crystals, which allow you to jump into a store if you are get a option to go into the store. Again, a lot, just like other roguelikes, it's a lot of luck. Right? Your runs are going to be based on a lot of luck, depending on what they give you, but you can go decide to go earn some crystals. You can decide to earn some blue flames, which allow you to open up more characters, more formations, which give you bonuses for your characters, and stuff on this big giant board, hexagonal board that they open up. So you can try to do that, or you can choose to go into a level that is going to give you the option to get another character, because you don't get to change your character. You're running with your main character. However, you get to compile up to 6 other characters throughout your run, and you could do it through a couple different ways. But you get to compile up to 6 different characters to join you on that run in a group formation, and they come in through your combos. So X and Y are your 2 main attack buttons. You also have a Musu gauge, which fills up. If you guys have played Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors, you'll know that the Musu gauge fills up. You still have that power ability once you're filled up to use as kind of like a special power. But then at the end of a combo of, let's say, XXXY, if you do XXXY and you have somebody in the 3rd slot, you have 3 people in your group, you can hold down Y at the end of that combo and it will call in that other character and they will do a special move as they come into the battle and then they leave, right? So it adds to the combo. Plus, the characters also give you bonuses to some of your skills and other things that you're using throughout the game. So very strategic as to how you want to build your team. Then you have the formations that you can open up, which allow you to change your formation depending on what group of characters you. Let's say, real simple one. Let's say that through your run, you have acquired, let's say 3 or 4 fire characters, right? Fire-based characters. Well, obviously you're going to be heavy fire-based. Well, they actually have a formation that you can switch to that gives you bonuses depending on how many fire characters you have. Right? So you can actually strategically up your chances or up your damage and skills through that formation. And so you could do that every time at the end of the round. It gives you the option to change out your formation. If you wind up acquiring, and you will if you get into the other next rounds after you go through, you could acquire more than 6 characters. But you can only play with 6 characters total, right? 6 bonus characters on your team. But you could swap them in and out after each round. So if you got a new formation or you've collected somebody else and now all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, now I've got 5 ice characters all of a sudden. Let me swap out of my formation to an ice formation that's going to give me more bonuses as well. You could do that after each round. So a lot of that involved. You get treasure chests, obviously like loot boxes that are going to give you a random type situation where you can earn a random reward. There are weapons, special weapons for each and every single of the characters that you can find throughout going through this process. So again, it's going to be random. It's going to be total luck. I've only found one, but they have unique weapons that will boost those characters' abilities and power up. So there's tons. Again, it's in depth. It's not easy at all, as most roguelites aren't. If you're thinking about like Hades and that kind of stuff, the point being is that you power up or you get different skills as you go through the roguelike, and you get a little bit better each time. I finally did beat the first boss after, I think, my 8th time through. The first one, I just beat the first boss last night. I got into the second round, got to the second boss, and wound up getting destroyed almost right away. Because again, you got to learn their attack patterns. So then you start all over again from scratch. And I had some bad runs coming back in and didn't get past the first boss again. You got to dodge. You got to use your unique abilities. The bosses have crazy range. They have crazy different styles that they can use, and it's not like the same pattern. They will mix up on you, so you can't get used to it. And so there is a lot of that. Just a freaking cool ass vision of a roguelite set in the Dynasty Warriors universe, which I love as I open up more characters. And again, there's much more to this too. There's a lot of depth to this game that comes into play. Again, a lot of luck like roguelikes, and some people hate them because it is a lot of luck about what you're going to get on that run. But I enjoy that loop. Yeah, it is, because you can get bad runs, Steel.
Oh yeah, you can definitely get bad runs, but there's definitely I just think there's some skill. It's mostly skill, but there's definitely some.
But and it's also how much time you're going to take to learn like the intricacies of each and every single character and skill that they bring, because you do have a choice when you get your when you beat a level and you go to this crystal tree, and this is where you can add a new character, right?
Okay.
They give you the option of 3 characters, generally speaking. So you have the choice.
So you have
which characters you want. So So now those characters are going to be random, right? And as you open up more characters,
help format those abilities, yeah.
As you open up more characters too, your choices become bigger, right? Because there's more selection. So there's more, there's more variety involved, right? Or randomness involved of who you're going to get to choose. But it shows you all their stats. It tells you how much you get a total power level of your team based upon who you're adding. So if you just want to be really simple, you can just look at the total power and pick based upon that, right?
Okay.
But if you want to get down to it, there is going to be bonuses. And then also, just like Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Warriors Orochi, there are certain team members, Steel, that if you pair them together, multiply their bonuses, right? Because they have relationships.
Okay.
Right. And
they
tell you,
that.
They tell you, they highlight, oh, you're getting a bonus if you use these 2 characters together in the same team.
So that can have an effect on your what you want to do and how you want to play this run. Okay.
Yes,
I like hearing that it's deeper than, because I was trying to listen to some other people talk about it as well, and it didn't seem like it was that in depth. I've even heard it was more so on the easier side of them. So.
No, I mean, just straight up front. Again, there's only 2 attack buttons. It's not like you're learning a ton of new attacks.
And there's most of them. A lot of them you kind of attack immediately about.
Pretty basic stuff here when it comes to that. But again, every character is unique in their attack abilities too, just like in Dinosaur, right? So you get your speed, dual wielders, right? That give you that, but don't do as much damage. You got your heavy 2-handed dudes who walk in and just murder everything, but they're slow, and you've got to dodge because there are enemies who start a unblockable type not really unblockable, but just they start a special attack where they're locked onto you, and it gives you warning, right? It's highlighting it. But in the middle of battle, you got to be able to dodge out of that, right? Otherwise, so a slow character, you're not necessarily going to be able to get away from that, whereas a fast character you can. So there's a lot to it that's brought over from the Dynasty Warriors series in general that adds the depth to this. So I'm really having a great time, obviously, with it. I've got I probably played 4 hours now over the past couple days on it already. Really having a good time with it. And of course, for me, it's just opening up the characters and kind of trying them all out So having a great time with Warriors Abyss. Steel, I did play Monster Hunter Wilds beta last weekend. I'm planning on hopping into it again.
Okay.
I did sit down to it.
You made your character and everything?
Yeah, made my character
pretty satisfied?
really happy. Very happy. Very, very happy with my character.
Made a female, right?
Great.
Okay,
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah. Nice
She looking
blonde
good?
ponytail. She's looking good. Yeah, she's looking good. She's looking good.
Nice.
She actually looks like weirdly enough, an old ex-girlfriend, like from a long time ago. Like weirdly enough, I was like, okay, did I do this subconsciously? Because I was like, I had a flashback. I'm like, holy shit. But anyways, it was funny as hell. That normally does not happen. I was like, okay, that was random.
Where did this design come from?
Yeah, I'm like, where did this come from, bro? So because I never really go in thinking about what I want when I go into a character creator, because each character creator is a little different for each game.
Nixie wants to know what's her cup size.
Small, more athletic size, probably between a B and a C, probably.
Yeah.
BCs. Yeah, BCs. Yeah, I don't go.
There you go. There you go, Nixie. That's what you want.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I don't go into anyone with predetermined what I'm trying to create. I just kind of look for, you kind of look at the pre-set up ones and try to see
what you feel,
which one appeals to you, and then work from there. And that's all I did on this again. And so I got really happy with the character design. Love it. Good. I think the Dragon's Dogma character creator is still a little bit better for me. Yeah, I still think so.
I can agree.
This one's close. I'm surprised they didn't just bring it over from Dragon's Dogma 2 because it was
that would have been dope. That would have been super dope.
It was, but anyways, and then like I've said before, I've played a good amount again of Monster Hunter in the past. I've always played solo. A lot of my game time was back in the day before we had online gameplay, right? A lot of it on the older PS2s, etc., on the Vita, right? PSP. So I'm used to playing solo. I never got into it like the Monster Hunter people or like Steel get into it, where they learned like the every single monster and like, we're gonna get the strategies that are involved, because again, the game has even evolved beyond what it used to be.
Shit, I'm not even at that level. That's what's crazy.
But it has become much more of a skill-based game than it was in the past. You can still run around, have a good time, defeat some of the early monsters, but if you do want to play up to those big boy monsters, you definitely got to be knowing what you're doing. You can't just walk in there thinking you're gonna slay a dragon, right? It's just not gonna happen. And I kind of want to do that. Again, I'm not going to be Steel here, right? I can't main games like that. Like, I will put in my time, but I know I'm going to trail off eventually. But I do want to get into this one. So I wanted to try the beta out. And I got to say, Steel, and I said this on PM the PM, and I know Sly Crow's in here, and I think he heard me on PM the PM too. Sly was pushing me last weekend when we were talking here to go Lance. And I went into this thing, and I'm not the tank dude. Steel knows this. I'm not the tank guy. But Steel was kind of scaring me off the dual wielding just because of, the perfect dodges and that kind of stuff. And I kind of figured that was going to be, okay, am I really going to want to have to do that kind of stuff or really learn how to get that? Probably not. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go in and try every single weapon that I possibly can in this beta. And that's pretty much what my main focus was trying different weapons. And I got to say, Steve, the Lance has got to be probably my favorite of the weapons. Like, that wound up being that wound up being my favorite weapon to use out of everything.
I was not expecting for you to say that.
I
know.
Out of
everything. How many weapons did you really try?
6, 7, I think. Main weapons.
Out of 7, Lance is standing out.
Yeah,
I mean, Lance is fun. I've seen people play with Lance, and again, when you were talking about his more tank-like, I was in the back of my mind thinking like, it's not quite, but I want to see. I wanted to hear how you felt about it.
It's up close and personal.
It is,
and you stand and you can shield block, right? So you can defend and you stay in there. You're not backing out when you're Lance.
But you got the block. So
you got the block, right? So, yeah, man, I was having a good time with that. I got to say, the ranged weapons, the heavy gun is pretty dope too. I was having fun being kind of a tank, sitting on my mount and just circling them and just blowing them up and just taking pot shots at them nonstop, right? it is more complex, and it is something that you do have to learn because you got to swap out your ammo and stuff, and then different ammo does different things. I was also getting used to the fact that there's, the environmental stuff that you can bring down on the big boys.
Yes.
Bro, I was like, oh my God. Okay. I got to remember, I got some vines hanging from the tree that I could drop down and I'll entangle them. I'm like, oh my God, I got to remember to do this. So, but I was getting used to it. But yes, I wound up really enjoying my time with the Lance. I did. I like the other one. Oh God, I forgot the name of it. What's the one that it can be a sword or it can transform into a two-handed axe?
Switch axe.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Is that what a switch axe? Whatever it is. I was having fun with that too. With the elemental attacks. That was dope as well. I was having a good time there. But just overall, Steel, I did not beat any of the big boys. But I did beat two of the bear looking ones that run in crowds, right? I beat two of those
Doshiguma.
Yeah. I beat the initial frog kind of monster 2 out the gate, and then I beat one of the pterodactyls, the bigger pterodactyls as well.
Okay.
Chased him around for quite a while. That he took me quite a bit of time, but I actually did wind up. I died once to him, and that was it. Otherwise, I wound up killing him. And it was only a hair. He was a fraction away from dying when I died. So I chased him down and killed him. I did take on one of the big 4-star guys. I got murdered right away. I knew I wasn't prepared. I was like, okay, whatever. I just want to go see what the battle's like. And I was like, holy shit. I think it was one of those big lightning ass
Right now,
I can't remember. Yeah, probably
the dragon, flying dragon.
Yeah,
yellow.
Yeah. But Steel, this world,
it is fucking phenomenal. It is unreal how detailed that shit is.
Yes. And just the environments, switching between the environments as you're traveling through, and how different each area is and what they've got going on in the background. But then also that randomness. Obviously, it's not new to Monster Hunter, but I've got to say it felt more natural, Steel.
Yes.
When I was chasing one of those monsters through an area and he got too close to one of the big boys' territory, and that big boy swooped in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just got to sit back and watch this battle right now. Look at this shit. This is and it was straight out of Godzilla movie. It was
that's how it feels too. Like, what am I watching?
And that was in Dragon's Dogma too, right? That was a part of it. They introduced that when you get the big trolls fighting the fucking dragons. Oh, bro,
or the eagle, or the griffins.
Yeah, griffins showing up out of nowhere and attacking. Oh my God. So that kind of stuff I absolutely love, and I was absolutely enthralled. And it didn't take me long. It can look complex. There's a lot to it, obviously, with crafting and with figuring out what armor you want to use. But even early on, about an hour in, I started getting used to things, started getting back into the whole. A lot of people I know when they first started on Monster Hunter, like swapping while in battle to your healing and that kind of stuff. The hot buttons help, but it's still a lot. There's a lot you can do.
No, there's a lot going on. Yeah.
Dropping bombs, dropping barrel bombs too in the middle of freaking battle, like that kind of stuff. I was starting to do that again too. There's just a lot, but I think overall they've stepped up even further beyond Monster Hunter World. This is going to be one of the biggest games of the year. Absolutely. We already know this. It's going to be massive. But just jumping into it again and not having played Monster Hunter for a bit was really an eye-opening experience. What they've done here, graphically, the details, everything about it, character design, the cutscenes, the NPCs, the acting, all of it is top-notch. Capcom doesn't miss anymore.
Did you play it on Xbox?
No, I played on PC.
You played on PC? Okay.
Yeah, I played. I
was just curious about that. Do you think you're going to end up playing on console, or are you going to play on PC?
Could be PC.
Okay.
I want those. I want the frames. And I want the especially for combat. I need that consistency. So that's why I'm going to stick with this. Not that it's not going to be consistent on Series X. I'm sure it is. But I just. Again, I think the trade-off, I was using, I put it on ultra everything still. I went ultra everything, 4K, native 4K, without FSR. And yeah, I was like, I was like, yeah, it was dipping pretty bad. I mean, we were jumping, 30s, 40s, right? It was dipping bad. And I was like, yeah, this ain't going to work. So I wound up keeping it native 4K, turn on FSR. and put it on just put it on bounce mode. And
Okay.
I was in the hundreds, right? And it didn't take away the resolution hardly at all. Some of the back stuff, some of the far away stuff you could tell was lower resolution, whatever else, but
Yeah.
it did a nice job. I didn't get any shimmering. I didn't have any problems with it whatsoever. No weird shit. Kept a lot of the detail, still looking really crispy, but I was in the 100
Okay.
frames. Then I was over 100 frames consistently. So it felt fucking phenomenal. So I was like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a PC game for me. So in battle. So yeah, that's been pretty much it. I could talk about more Far Cry New Dawn. I'm still rocking on Far Cry New Dawn, but we won't bore you guys. Again, old game, but looks great with the update that they did. And again, like I said, on PM to PM, it's just fast food. I sit down, go kill a bunch of shit, go hunt some shit, and I could turn it off, and I don't think about it. It's just fun. It's just a blast. I smile. I have a good time. It's Far Cry, so I've been rocking that as well. But again, I want to talk about Warriors Abyss and then Monster Hunter Wilds. And I am going to drop, I think I'm going to this weekend, if I get some time, jump back into Monster Hunter Wilds and try a few more of the weapon sets and get a handle on some of the controls for when it launches. Cause I'm day one on that for sure. Like that's definitely day one. So, and Avowed next week. So I'll be able to talk about Avowed next week.
Yeah, I think getting your additional takes on Avowed when you actually get hands on, I think it's going to be really interesting. Coming that next Saturday for Living Split Screen, and then that following Saturday after that, Monster Hunter is going to be releasing. I'll be just coming off of work, so I don't know how much I'll be able to get into, but hopefully that Friday at least, that morning, I'm planning on doing a stream or whatever, just getting some early time in, because again, when I say that that's going to be the main game that I'm going to be playing, that's exactly what I mean. Hey, Living Split Screen might be some Monster Hunter if it really comes down to it. But we'll see. I'm being funny, but yeah, that's the main things, man. Avowed has been a lot better than I was even expecting. With the impactfulness of it. Especially weapon wise, has been very entertaining, I should say. How the enemies ragdoll, especially when you get that last hit on them, has been really funny. And then they do have kind of like a takedown kind of mechanic in the game as well. So that's been really interesting. Get the breaking the enemy's guard and then doing that takedown move and seeing the special kind of animation happen, which you can tell the majority of everything was meant to be done in first person, because it does look a little weird when you do some things in third, just because you could just tell. But excited about that. But with that said, I will need to probably wind things down early. We may not end up doing a 4 or 5 hour show today. Try to keep it towards 12 or so, right around that area, just to kind of let you guys know up front. Again, real life always moving in the background, but that does not mean we can't get into some upcoming games. Now, as far as upcoming games go, I don't know if I don't think I changed the week. So, but that's fine. So upcoming games are coming up on the February the 18th. And of course I have this pulled up on screen, and my window capture said, you know what? Why would we pull up whatever you have on screen? How about we just do whatever we feel like today? And I said, you know what? You're right. You should do whatever you want. It's been an ongoing thing. I got on today, I hooked up my headphones and I couldn't adjust my volume. Now I swapped over to my other headphones because the wife is playing Avowed right now. So, hey, there you go. Avowed did something. And things seem to be better, but everything else isn't set up. So there's that. So is life, man. You got to keep things fun and interesting. But this week on upcoming games, we are starting with Avowed here. Let me see if I can get it on properly on screen.
Oh, maybe, Nixie, you're gonna try out Like a Dragon, huh? You're gonna try out the Pirates in Hawaii, Yakuza Pirates in Hawaii. Bro, that looks so good. I've been seeing people play.
Oh, he's gonna get on that Like a Dragon train?
It's a demo. The demo's out. It gives you some ship combat up front. You can't carry anything over though to the full game. So there is that. It's one of those demos, but they do give you a slice kind of each kind of gameplay style for the game, and people are loving it right now. They said it's exactly what you think it is, and that the action combat is actually really good still. So the hand-to-hand,
really,
like yeah. There's some people saying it's really good. So, and they said that the pirate ships is absolutely arcadey, but that's dope, right? That's what.
Yeah, probably
kind of
very
want
similar to
see.
Black Flag. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
That's
correct,
kind of what
correct.
people have been asking for. Looks
What
really
we want.
fun, you know, easy to
Yeah.
play, not overly complicated. I mean, I think that's what people have been looking for. Which is why I was so surprised when Skull and Bones. I mean, again, that was part of the reason why some of us were interested in it initially, and I played that fucking closed beta, and it was like, Jesus Christ, this is such a waste of a game. But hey, you know, to each their own. But like I said, we are starting with Avowed this week. Again, you saw that on screen for you guys as well. This is coming out on the 18th for everybody that is interested. The other thing too, another additional detail, I am playing Avowed on hard. For those who want to know, I'm kind of wish that I was playing on a harder difficulty a little bit, because there is one more higher difficulty. That is a me thing more than anything else. I still think I'm a little too early on to truly give a judgment call on whether it's too easy or not, but it feels decently balanced so far. Again, the biggest critique that I can give Avowed right now is the enemy magnetism, right? Where you're dodging an enemy. And again, I know why they do it, so that you at least feel some pressure. Because again, if you're able to kind of dodge the way that you are in Avowed, especially with there being the stamina system, you could kind of maneuver it to where the enemy typically wouldn't be able to hit you. But they do when the enemy does like a power move or whatever the case, the enemy will, like if the enemy is on the opposite side of the ring and you dodge the other way, if he's doing a special, like a power move, whatever the case, he will float across the map and hit you with this move. It's like they literally magnetize to you and will hit you with that attack. So you still have to have some timing if you want to dodge that, or if you want to block it, you still got to put your shield up, right? So there is that aspect to it that I would give as a critique, as somebody that does not like when my enemies have this weird ass magnetism to where I feel like I have to play a certain way so that I can dodge some of these moves. But again, that's just a personal kind of gripe. But nonetheless, shout out to Avowed coming out. And Avowed is set in the fantastical realm of Eora, initially unveiled in the Pillars of Eternity series. Avowed presents a captivating first-person fantasy RPG brought to life by the distinguished team at Obsidian Entertainment. It's also third-person if you'd like. As an emissary from Adir, a far-off region, you're tasked with probing into ominous whispers of a burgeoning plague. As you delve deeper, you unearth an intimate bond with the land and an age-old secret poisoned to annihilate everything. So there's Avowed, ladies and gentlemen. All right, next up on that list, since they rolled this down here, I hate when they do that. Get me back to my day. There we go. All right, so we just hit Avowed up. Next, we got Lost Records. Lost Records Bloom in Rage Tape 1. Lost Records, at the heart of Lost Records, is a story crafted by Jean-Luc Cano and his team of writers, closely collaborating with Michael Koch, however you want to say that. The game follows the emotional and mysterious journey of four high school friends, Swan, Nora, Autumn, and Kat. Their story unfolds over a transformative summer, creating lifelong bonds. However, 27 years later, a twist of fate brings them together again after they vowed they would never speak to each other. Looks like a mystery, magical surrealism, and an experience that is promising a reflecting and captivating experience. So, Lost Records for those interested in that. It's coming out this week. Also, we got Berserk Boy on the list. Berserk Boy, in the distant future, a mad scientist and his army of darkness seek to enslave the people of Earth. Hope for all humanity rests with the resistance, but are they enough? Enter Kai, a rookie hero who is transformed by a mysterious orb energy that turns him into Berserk Boy. With high-speed action and the power to defeat evil, Berserk Boy must face off against the diabolical Dr. Genos and his army of dark energy minions. It is a side-scroller, a side action game. So if you are into that, that is releasing on PlayStation 5 in 3 days, and it came out on PC and Switch last year in March.
People doing some really cool animation with 2D and sprites.
They are, man, bringing it back.
So cool. It's clean.
It works.
So
yeah,
cool, man.
very clean, especially for the modern era.
Yeah,
it's still like you get that old school feel, but it's modernized. It's modernized.
Yeah, it's modernized. Yeah. I just think it's awesome. I love pixel art. I always will. I don't play those types of games, but whenever I see them, they're just beautiful to me. I still look at that and go, even compared to realistic or 3D style games, some of those 2D pixel games are just freaking amazing looking, bro. I love them.
Yeah. Zardboy looks interesting. Definitely something that's speaking to me at least. February 19th, we got the reloaded edition of Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2, I'd recommend anybody to play Dying Light 2. Again, me and Paul got 60 hours of co-op. Fucking phenomenal experience. Loved every moment, the moment that we had exploring, getting out in those nighttime moments, trying to get us back to base or get into the UV light to make sure that we were safe. And just having those tense moments when you went into those radiated areas and, you know, you were trying to find all the chests, kill all the people that you needed to kill. It was really, really some fun times to be had there. So definitely jump into Dying Light 2 if you're looking for that. In the next 4 days. This is the reloaded edition. Looks like it essentially comes with let me see if they say what it comes with. It comes with Tower Raid as well. This seems to be a standalone release for that. Where access Tower Raid through the main menu where you'll be transported to the raid hub. It's a new place where you can enter the Tower Raid and visit shops associated with its progression. So there is that. And this is coming to everything. So this looks like it just to be an update, a standalone release for this mode. And it's part of the, you can get it part of the Reloaded edition as well. We also got Stories from Soul. It says, survive the mystery that awaits the JFS Gundog in deep space in this retro visual novel graphic adventure. There you go. And it's coming to everything but Xbox. So there's that. If you want a little visual novel action, so a little bit, get you a little bit of that old school feel in there. It's got some mechs in it. Even though it's got mechs in it, it's not for me. Not that one. All right. Next up, we got Ninja Isen. Ninja Isen is an Asteroid J's game that features hyper ninja action adventure in the cyberpunk world. You, Kaiba, as a ninja, has been falsely accused. You failed to save the princess, the only one who could restore your honor, and warped to the other world with her. Now, you stand in the middle of a metropolis surrounded by neon lights and holograms. You, Kaiba, must slash through mysterious foes and find the princess. Hey, another side scroller, man. Looks like I have some cool, interesting gameplay. I love really over the top and everything. And this could be another one that's a standout for some folks. This is actually going to be releasing on only the Switch. So, unfortunately, if you wanted to play this elsewhere, you will not be able to currently. And I take that back because it does look like it was released on PC in November of 2023. So it's been out. But it's just not coming to Switch. So it looks like it'd be a good game on Switch for those into that. We also had Carbonet, looks like. Carbonet is a 2D narrative RPG set in the 19th century Eastern European inspired world with a modern twist. Guide Lisa, a young vampire struggling with her morality in the supernatural world she has been pulled into. Will you retain your humanity or descend further into the horror you have become? You know, Paul, I love the fucking concept of this. Like, that's the concept like Blade. That's like the concept like
yeah.
Having that dichotomy of whether you give in to the monster or whether you fight back. It's just so fucking dope.
I still when I see this stuff, and obviously we talk about this constantly, that innovation comes from a lot from the indie scene and AA scene, right? Obviously they take more risks, but story wise, I don't know why AAA has lost their ability to create unique stories and unique worlds and takes like this. Like, like I said, I understand the risk factor, right? But there's still new IPs being created by AAA, right? I just don't know why, generally speaking, and I know part of it is like Hollywood where everything's kind of been done to a degree, but there is still some very unique perspectives and stories to be told. I think there's a lot more unique perspectives and stories to be told.
Yeah,
If
I
you've
agree.
got the right writers, it's just AAA just don't do anything like this story-wise. Again, this would be a fantastic, and I'm not taking anything away from this game. I'm sure it's probably going to be a very cool game, but I'd love to see that type of story be flipped on its head in the AAA space with something big out of one of the new IPs. Like we see kind of the same thing over and over again in that space. It's just a different, like, slight variance, right?
We get so many zombie games. We don't get enough vampire kind of based games where they really dive deeper into the ethos, being able to transform into different monsters. Again, I know they're talking about bringing Castlevania back, but but even that is different. You know what I mean? Like, unless we're going to be playing as a fucking Alucard, you know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, like an RPG, like how many people, I just go back to like Oblivion and Skyrim. I mean, how many people love to play as vampires, right? In those games, why don't we have a full-fledged RPG AAA fucking vampire game? Why has nobody done that? People love vampires. People love the concept of being vampires, right? V Rising, on the PC, is done fantastic.
I still want to play that.
It's really good. The little bit I played, it was really good. I understood why people were into it. Like, I do want to get back to it, but I'm just saying, like, a full-fledged AAA RPG vampire, like, where you get to, like, make your vampire, and you could actually, within that space, choose to be the conflicted vampire, like we were just talking about in that story, where you could choose to, like, be the good vampire, quote unquote good, and not try to kill as many people as possible. Or you could go full-fledged, like, bloodthirsty, give into the instinct, right, and go that route, like Interview with the Vampire style. Like, you could be Tom Cruise, you could be Brad Pitt, right? Why, or something in between. Why don't we have that? This is adult kind of gaming that, like, the average age for the gamer now is 30s plus.
No,
why
Tim,
not?
Nobody says, no, we don't need a Twilight game just because he said conflicted vampire.
Hell, no.
I would rather
sparkly vampires, okay?
I'd rather take an Underworld game than that.
Oh yeah,
I'd do Underworld.
You bring me Underworld?
100% good. Yeah. Matter of fact, Underworld and Aeon Flux both need games immediately.
Aeon Flux is going to be tough to do, but you could.
Aeon Flux is dope though, man.
But it's so
I love
wild,
that fucking
weird.
It is.
So
I need Kojima.
Weird.
We need Kojima on that one, man. Get Kojima to make an Aeon Flux game.
Yes, but an Underworld game, absolutely, especially
Underworld would be
if
dope.
you're going to do
especially with the Lycans.
Kate Beckinsale. Yeah, please.
Yeah. I'm a believer in that. I can get behind that. All this has sprung off of Cabernet, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's coming to PlayStation, Switch, and Xbox. Next, we got Godzilla Voxel Wars, and this is get ready to battle using your brain. A full-fledged turn-based strategy game with a difficulty level Godzilla. Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and more are here to rampage across an 8x8 grid, control Toho monsters, and save the world from the fungoid mushroom invasion. Turn-based Godzilla monster game. There you go. MG says, I'll just take Bloodborne 2. Gene, they need to just do remaster fucking Bloodborne 1. They took down the 60 FPS mod, although it's on the internet, so you can still get it. But they took down the whole 60 FPS mod, and everybody thought that this was going to be an announcement at the State of Play, and nobody hasn't got it. So interesting. This game is coming to Switch. Godzilla Voxel Wars. King Ghidorah. My fault. That's how you say that? It's Ghidorah? I thought it's not Ghidorah?
No, it's Ghidorah. Pretty sure.
That's so weird. Anyway, I know fucking God. Some of those names are just, they do weird stuff.
Some of those names are whatever.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No. we got to cut short today, so I won't keep going sidetrack here. I was just thinking about vampire games again. Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines.
Oh yeah,
that's why the game is still to this day a cult classic, even though it's so old and it is janky as fuck. It is still a cult classic because it is. It's one of the few mature true RPG vampire games that we have. Vampire is an underrated one. That was a AA game. Underrated, different style, but that's about as close as we've gotten to a full-fledged vampire game, and everybody's been waiting on number 2, and it's been delayed, transferred devs multiple times. Nobody knows still. It's supposed to be coming out, but nobody still knows. But I'm saying, like, a major studio doing something like full-fledged with the resources behind it of a AAA vampire RPG would just be dope as fuck. Anyway, sorry. I got side tangent thinking about vampire games again. And bring back Blood Rain while we're at it, too. Redo Blood Rain. I know you guys did the weak remasters, but do another Blood Rain. Let's go. Anyways, that's
fair. Next up, you got Star of Providence. Star of Providence is a top-down action shooter with procedurally generated elements. Explore a progression of floors as you make your way into the depths of the facility, encountering increasingly deadly enemies, fantastic weapons, upgrades, choices, and revelations as you venture deeper towards a great and calamitous power. Actually kind of interesting. I like the style that they're going for here. This is another game that is coming out on Switch. So for those who have that, interesting game for Switch. The next one we have up here is X-Out Resurfaced. X-Out Resurfaced starts off by saying, starting engine, inserting disc. Plunge right into the depths of nostalgia as the legendary side-scrolling shoot-'em-up X-Out returns in a stunning remake, X-Out Resurfaced. Rainbow Arts, one of the top game developers of the 80s, originally developed and released X-Out for home computers in 1990. Celebrated as the dream of every action freak and the ultimate shoot-'em-up. You don't know about this one? This is from your days.
Now, PC gaming in 1990. I mean, I did have my PC back then.
X-Out quickly became a classic on the Commodore 64, Amiga, and Atari ST.
I didn't have any of them, so that's probably why. But I don't. X-Out is not one of the shmups that everybody talks about. Like when you start listing off the great shmups. I mean, it looks dope as hell, but I don't remember X-Out. Anyways,
it looks cool. I mean, yeah, definitely.
I'm sure back in the day, at some point, it was big for a lot of people on those PCs. I'm sure it was, but I just never heard of it. Anyways, keep going.
The way they talked about it is funny, and it is coming to everything. So if you're interested in that, cool. X-Out, got the X-Out. Next we got up Tap the Cat. Oh, knock down your enemies and collect. Yes, let's fucking go. Knock down your enemies and collect all the cats and achievements in this pixel art party game for true cat lovers.
Okay, so
use different power-ups and survive the dangerous traps to show your friends who's the fluffiest of them all. Yo, you can play basketball with cats.
What the fuck is this, bro? What the fuck is this, bro? Look at this shit. We're jumping in boxes. We're jumping in boxes.
Yeah, it's Metal Gear with cats. You got a dog chasing you around.
Oh my god!
You can run around the living room. You got glow in the dark eyes. Look at this.
This is gonna be a whole stream thing right here. This is
Tag the Cats. Perfect couch game is coming. And this is also releasing to everything. February 20th. Gene says, I love my cat.
Yeah, but
that's funny.
I still gotta play Stray. That reminds me. I do have to play Stray.
True.
I really did want to play that. I wasn't joking when that first dropped. I really did want to check that game out. It looks kind of cool. Anyways.
All right. Next up on the list, we got Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. It says, a new legend begins as you step into the steel-toe boots of Goro Majima, a man who has lost his memory and reinvents himself as a pirate on the open sea.
He's just insane. Let's just put it what he is. He is an absolute insane character. Anyways, yes, continue.
Yeah. So I've heard some people have been playing this early, and they're saying that it plays pretty good. Pawn was mentioning earlier that the action combat in this game is also really good. I don't have any genuine interest in pirates, right? I kind of got to be finagled into it, right? Black Flag was the last pirate game that really kind of pulled me in unwillingly, and I did end up enjoying it, although once you do the pirates, that's a whole thing in itself, right? Which again seems to be heavily part of this game as well. But this game has some cool things going for it: action combat, sea battles. Yakuza is going to have all the other games and stuff in there as well. All the other stuff that the Yakuza usually brings. I'm kind of off the Yakuza train. I've never really been on. So, hey, for everybody that's interested in Pirate Yakuza, it is coming this upcoming week.
Some point I'll be playing it. Unlike Steel, I love pirates. At some point I will.
That's fair. That's fair. I like Pirates of the Caribbean, but that's about as far as it goes. Next we got up Please Be Happy. Please Be Happy is a comfy slice of life visual novel set in fictional version of Wellington, New Zealand. Born as a fox in the forest of Korea, Miho carries with her the memory of a traveler who showed her kindness and spoke of home. Okay. This is releasing on everything in 6 days. So there's that upcoming week.
Nice.
Next we got RPG Maker With. This looks like a game that was just made by RPG Maker, and they're calling it RPG Maker With. It features robust and easy to learn tool. Oh no, this is just a tool, I guess. It's just RPG Maker Extended Edition. Okay. Intuitive controls and a rich library of pre-made sample games and assets, making game creation easier than ever. Plus, you can post your creations online and play other creators' games to earn inspiration, feedback, and inspire others. This is really dope for people who are into this, man. To have an online kind of infrastructure so people can share different builds. Maybe this will help get those RPG games to be more known. Who knows? So maybe somebody ends up creating the perfect RPG with RPG Maker. Nam says, but pirates love booty still. How could you not like them? Nam, it's a good point. Let's see what else we got here. Anything else that looks like to be it? Next week I got a Ninja 5-0 and a Railway Empire, but that has nothing to do with this week's upcoming games.
Love it.
We are back.
It's good to have this section back. It is good to have this session.
It is. And again, I am limiting it down. This is not including PC releases unless these console games are also releasing on PC. That's the only time they'll have those PC releases. Main reason I did that is because, again, we have a wider audience than that. I don't want to just speak to the PC player. I want to speak to the gamers, right? And most of the gamers that are considering are on multiple platforms. So I want to try to cover everything that's Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, and PC. So if it's not including the majority of them, then that's kind of what this list is. So there is that. Ladies and gentlemen, this week we had a state of play. A state of play, but let's shout out the chat first.
Real quick. I got to shout out these amazing people in here like we always do.
Please do.
Tip. The Sorcerer is in here. What's going on, Tip? Thank you for dropping in, brother. We got Def Leopard in the house. What's going on, Def? We got the one and only Nam Omar in here. What's going on, Nam? We got the Lydian joining us today. Thank you, Lydian. We got the MF Great. What's going on, MF Great? Thank you for being here, brother. We got the MG dropping in here. What's going on, MG? Thank you, brother, for being a part of the show. We got the one and only Dakato in here. What's going on, Dakato? Great to see you. He said Vampire the Masquerade was very close to its roots as a pen and paper. It didn't translate well, but I loved it. Yeah, exactly. I still have never truly played it. Like, I've touched it, Dakato. Like, I've thought about picking it up on GOG or Steam just to check it out. I know how janky it is, and it doesn't have controller support, obviously, but I've still thought about it. That's why everybody had such high hopes for number 2, but it's been in development hell. That's what I'm saying. I just would love a big studio to take on a vampire RPG, but glad you enjoyed it. That's the way that cult classic kind of became a thing, is because so many people did say it was like, remove all the problems with it, and it's actually really good as being one of the few vampire RPGs we have. Who else is in here today? We've got the legendary Yobi dropping in here. Thank you, legendary. Always appreciate you, brother. We got the one and only, of course, Nixie in the house. Nixie, thank you. We've got the Rescue Squad. Culp, what's going on, Rescue Squad? Always great to see you in here. We got the one and only Eastside Vandal in here. What's going on, Eastside? Thank you for dropping by, brother. Who else we got in? We got Understanding. Where is the precinct? He says, bro.
Oh, true. Damn, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
They are posting so much footage of it. Why does my YouTube always crash out? I don't understand why it does that. But yeah, that has been on my wish list. That is a game that I want to pick up. I played the demo on Steam. Yeah, I need the precinct. They keep posting videos, but we have not gotten a date. I need that game. Who else? Sorry, guys, I lost it because it just reset completely. Borbs 8203. I see you in here. What's going on, Borbs? Thank you for being a part of the show today. We got the Brett Bingham in here. What's going on, Brett? Brett says, Steel, did you know that you can throw those incendiary fruits as grenades if you pick them up in Avowed? Highly underrated.
I haven't been looking for them, but yeah.
Yeah. We got the Sly Crow in here. He says the Lance is so fun. You can hop dodge after each attack. Yeah, I wasn't doing the hop dodge yet. Like, I was just getting down the basics. But yeah, again, the Lance surprised me. The Lance definitely surprised me about how interesting and fun it was. Fahim Scott is in here. What's going on, Fahim? I see you, brother. I can't go back any further. Again, everything reset on my side for YouTube, so it's canceled me out. But anyways, thank you all for joining us for another episode of Living Split Screen. We got to get in to the state of play because we are going to keep the show limited today for real life. But I want to get everybody shouted out. So if you're here, if you're lurking, if I didn't catch your name, again, nothing but love and respect as always to each and every single one of you that give us your most precious commodity, the thing that none of us can give any more of, and that is time. So thank you for being here. Love you all. And glad to have you a part of the show today. So thank you. Go ahead, Steve. Get us set up.
So we're going to get into the state of play, but Pong, I kind of wanted to set things up as well with this. Because I saw people were having a conversation this week of, kind of the expectation, right? And I kind of heard you guys talk about this on Thursday as well on PM to PM. You kind of directly asked Mav was like, what was your expectation? Like, you rated at this level, and he
rated it for anybody who doesn't know, he had two ratings, one as a Sony show and then one as a game.
And I've seen a lot of people doing that. Doing it. He was another one. And it was just interesting to hear the perspective for sure.
Yeah.
But the main thing that I wanted to get him back to, because I forgot what the Sony shows were called, right? I know it's a state of play, but wasn't there also another type of show that they had? And what was the name of those?
They've had showcase.
So there were showcases, right? They called them showcases. Yes. Like there was the showcases and then state of plays. Now, this is what I wanted to reconfirm because I kind of forgot just because it has, to your point, it has been some time since we've got a proper first party kind of showcase. Mm-hmm. Is it the state of, I thought the state of plays were kind of for like the in-between games. I know for some of them, they were using them for like, I think they did state of play for Spider-Man 2, if I'm not mistaken. Or another game. I think they might have did it for Ratchet & Clank. God of War did it. Yep, so God of War, right. Yep. What I was trying to kind of reconfirm was, were there more first party games shown at a showcase, or were there more so as state of plays? Because I thought, we had discussed this before. We saw state of plays were starting to become more of a single game kind of focus kind of thing. And then some of them are like opened up a little bit and there's all these other games, you know what I mean? So like now, what was the way that they were handling before? Was it first party being shown at the showcases, or was it the state of play that they were doing that? Or is it, again, like I was mentioning, it's like they show the first part of the showcase, and if they want to show additional content from whatever first party game, they kind of use that for the state of play, and then they've kind of adjusted since.
Yeah. The classic showcases were the classic showcase. It was just like Xbox.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
That's what it was. The state of plays were more like Nintendo Directs, right? They could be a mix.
Okay,
you could have first party in there. Now, the argument from people is, and it's a valid argument, I said it on PM and the PM too, maybe Sony just decided to stop doing showcases altogether, right? Well, if that's the case, then, again, how do you look at these situations? Mm-hmm. As long as they tell you up front what it's going to be, and again, they had said that this state of play was going to be focused on our partners worldwide. So again, I go into it not expecting like first party. Like that's not what I expected, but we have come to know that they will throw in some first party from time to time if they're ready to show something. So Yeah, but the way it used to be, their hopes and dreams was a showcase, right? Steel.
That's
that
what I
was a
thought.
They
That's
laid
what-
it all
okay.
out. Yeah. And it was actually called, what was it called when they were, there was actually a term, like somebody in the chat, why can't I think of it? Do I have the tag? I don't have the tag.
Chat and let us know if you remember what that was called. 'Cause
I had
I've
the
been-
tag. What was it? Was it called when they were doing it and they were putting it in theaters? Because I went to one of the theater ones. Like they were showing it in theaters. You could buy a ticket, go to the theater and watch their showcase. Oh god damn. Was it called? It wasn't State of Play back then. It was something. What the hell was it called? God, I used to have the tag laying around here. Why don't I?
That's what I was looking at. I was about to pull it up on Google. I just hadn't had the time.
Yeah,
Didn't have
I
the
thought
time
there
to do
was
it prior. Either way,
yeah.
Either way, the point being was there's been a lot of conflicting things that have happened, right? And we haven't got a true, again, showcase from Sony in quite some time. So now you kind of have to take what they have been doing as their showcases, right? Because we haven't got one in Lord knows how long, right? Mm-hmm. So with that and with the games that were shown at the State of Play, now I'll start off with this. I think Pawn was along the same lines, if I heard you correctly, on PM and the PM. I think me and Pawn both gave it an 8, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what I heard Pawn said. I gave the State of Play an 8, and I'm more than willing to go through the games, and I will mention the games that I was interested in, because we're gonna go down the list and kind of just give us some initial thoughts and stuff like that for the things that were shown. He said, Nixie says showcase is a name. Yeah, but I thought there was a more specific name for what they had. Like it was called something special, like how Xbox calls it the Developer Direct. I thought there was an equivalent outside of State of Play for that as well. Not just a showcase kind of thing, right? But I do understand the people's perspective, or at least the fans' perspective of those who are involved in the PlayStation ecosystem, of not being happy that there wasn't any first party here, right? Now, this is something that has also happened on the opposite end, and there had been a lot of excuses made and people making fun of folks and all that great stuff. And again, we see something similar happening now, where Sony's first party seems to be nowhere to be seen, and then it continues to kind of get pushed away, and people kind of forget that a showcase even existed before, right? Which is why I was kind of racking my mind about it. I was like, damn, when was the last time we really saw a showcase, right? Because I feel like it's been at least a couple years now at this point. And if the State of Plays are going to be their new showcase, right? Because again, I can see them rolling that into a State of Play. It makes sense, right? You show, hey, your partners, maybe throw some first parties in there like they did, and you take the show for what it is. Now, for me, as somebody who cares more about the games than I do about what platform that you're playing on, I don't particularly care that all those games were multi-plat, right? Because what PlayStation and Sony tends to do pretty damn well, and they did it during the show, except for a couple games, is they make sure to put PlayStation only and that as a logo at the bottom of every game that they show. Right? Regardless if it's going to be multi-plat or not. They only show PlayStation. They make sure to do that. It's a mentality thing, right? Mental gymnastics. Now, come to find out after the State of Play, because a lot of the games during the State of Play, you would assume that these games were going to be exclusive to PlayStation. They did really well, I feel, with giving people who were maybe on the fence, the normies, a reason to get a PlayStation 5, right? Now, if you're getting a PlayStation 5 only for exclusives, I can understand why you didn't find any real value during this show. And again, we're gonna go down the list, but because of all the games that were shown, that is why I walked away from it with an 8, because the amount of games that they demonstrated, that even if it was an add-on to something that we saw before, like the game Split Fiction, I believe it's called, from the same people who made It Takes Two. Another game that looks really interesting. We got some additional details from that, at least some more dialogue from the two characters, give you an additional feel for what to expect in the game. I thought it was paced and done pretty darn well. But again, I've always been somebody, even in the year 2022, when people felt like, oh, first party didn't perform really well, I was the person standing on the line telling the Fun Spec fan, Pong, me and Pong talked about it here. Now, we didn't have a spat or anything, but we had some, kind of a disagreement with how we kind of felt about that year. And I was 100% on the line. They're like, hey, man, look, Xbox released all these games this year. I got to play this, and the value of Game Pass and all these great things, right? Now, it's not always about Game Pass. It is about the games that were made available to me, right? So even if those games weren't in Game Pass, I still got this slew of games that were not only available to me in the service, but also came to the platform that I typically prefer. Or the platform that I do prefer, not even typically. That's what I prefer. So I keep the same energy with that. Going into this, with this PlayStation, with the Nintendo, whether it's this, if Nintendo shows me 10 games that I like, I take the show for what it is. They don't have to show a Pokemon, a Mario, or whatever. If they show me 10 things that I like, then I take that show exactly for what it is. And me and Pong have said here multiple times that we do take these shows in a vacuum. We take it for exactly what it is. Hey, what did this show present to me? What did I take out of it? What am I interested in? And what can I kind of maybe discuss some things about? Or where does this kind of go from here? And I feel like they painted a good picture, right? So let's get into the state of play a little bit here. This is going to be coming from Polygon.com. So shout out to Polygon. Let me see if I can get that up on screen for you guys. And of course, window capture is always not where it needs to be, but that's fine because we're going to get it right. Everything announced at Sony's February 2025 State of Play. And we're going to kind of go down the list, give a little bit of details here and go from there. They go on to say, it's 2025 and Sony Interactive Entertainment is back with its first State of Play presentation for the year. Sony broadcasted 40 minutes worth of PlayStation 5 news, focused on what it described as creative and unique selection of exciting games from studios around the world. And Sony really packed those 40 minutes with near back-to-back announcements and almost 30 trailers or reveals. The event began at 5 p.m. EDT and was streamed to YouTube and Twitch. But if you missed the broadcast, they're going to get into it down low. First, they came in with Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds, this was a good trailer for them. Again, I definitely think that on the PlayStation side of things, there is going to be a lot of attraction there. PlayStation made a smart move with this. If they have the marketing for the game, which seemingly they do, this isn't the first time that they've showed the game off kind of thing. I think that's going to do well for Sony on that side of things. Fortunately enough, though, the game is full crossplay. So no matter what platform that you're going to be playing on, Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be available to you. And again, this is always going to be my biggest standout. Does it do anything for the show in particular? No. This title doesn't do anything for the show because we all know that it is going to be multi-platform. But again, for PlayStation to show it off again, and it shows off some new footage as well. Another monster was kind of snuck in there as well for the people who are interested in that. Monster Hunter is my most anticipated game of the year and more than likely going to be my bona fide game of the year, since it's really the only game that I'm planning on playing for the majority of the year, depending on how we roll off of it. Shinobi Art of Vengeance. This was something that was new and shown as well, completely unexpected. Again, another one of those side-scrolling Metroidvania kind of style games. This was actually also very interesting between the action combat, the versatility of the movement and everything. I never played Shinobi back in the day, at least from what I can remember. So and I always hear good stuff about Shinobi. I saw some people say that, oh man, the art doesn't look good, or this doesn't look good, or whatever. I loved what I saw from it. Looks very appealing, speaks to me, is right up my alley for the type of style of games that I look into, especially combat wise. And again, if I'm going to play these style of games, this is the kind of combat that I would like in it. So Shinobi looks really dope, man. I love what they did with the art. Very, very interesting game. And I think that's a good plus for them. So Shinobi is one of those top titles for me. And, you get that set up right there. The next thing that was shown off was Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Now, this game was not announced before. This was the first time that they showed this off, at least from what I can recall. There was another Sonic racing game, but this is the first time that they've shown across worlds. Now, I haven't played Sonic Racing that I can remember, but I've played Mario Kart back in the day. I will say Sonic Racing, especially when they showed the Sonic Riders portion of it, the hoverboards, I was like, damn, I probably need to play this. This is one of those games that me and my brother would probably hop on and just have a fucking ton of fun with, right? So again, it was really dope to see this here. This was another one that really spoke to me that, and again, I hear that it's better than Mario Kart, but that's neither here or there. It's always going to be about personal preference, but I would be a liar if I didn't say I wasn't interested in it as well, that it didn't pull my attention, right? So Sonic Racing Cross Worlds was another standout, at least for me. And I haven't played the previous Sonic Racing. The next one on this list for me, Pong, I see that you're back. I just started getting to the state of play, talking about some of the games. No, you're good. You're good. Everything good?
Yeah, dog emergency.
Oh, okay.
Get her out. She was, yeah. Anyways, yeah.
No, you're good. As long as you don't have to like step away or anything, you're good. You're good. Good.
Yeah, no.
I want to make sure there was no emergencies or anything.
And no one's going to take that long. So anyways.
Okay. Gotcha. All good.
Like having kids.
Yeah, 100%. I was getting to the state of play. I was essentially giving people a breakdown, telling people why I kind of felt about the state of play the way that I did, right? Kind of goes back to what I did with Xbox in 2022 when I defended that year with you guys. We kind of had a little bit of at odds there about how we felt about the year for first party and things and how that's kind of translated into this, right? Now, for me, like I've continued to say, I did do it on Twitter as well, X, otherwise known as, and I've done it everywhere. I've been consistent in, for me, it's always been more about the games and what has been demonstrated than it is just about first party. But I can understand why a PlayStation fan or somebody who's only looking for exclusives, why maybe the show bothered you a little bit. But at the same time, like, to be consistent in that, if you actually care about the games, and that's what people always go back and mention to, these games were announced under PlayStation's banner. Right? At the end of the day, they were demonstrated on a state of play. Not an Xbox show, not a Keighley show, not any of this. But if you were a PlayStation gamer and you saw this show, you know for sure that these games are coming to your platform. And taking it as that, not just, oh, well, I didn't get any first party. I think that is why I'm giving the show that 8 out of 10, because it is about the games. And I found a lot of games that I had genuine interest in. And I was just getting into the list a bit here. I just said something about Monster Hunter Wilds earlier to start it off with. That was the first thing that they showed off a new trailer, some more environments, another monster. Was there anything else that you wanted to add on for Monster Hunter Wilds, at least in this section? When they started,
no, I thought it was a great new trailer. Again, every time they show it, it just looks better and better. So I got nothing there. Yeah, no, and I'll just real quick, briefly say, just for my state of play thoughts. Again, you guys know me. I don't look at these shows that critically, especially when they tell you up front what they're going to be. And like I said, they said that it was going to be focused on the worldwide partners and that. That
is the other thing to consider. Yeah, 100%.
And so for me, again, I understand if people want to, if people want to get down on Sony because they're supposed to be trying to sell their console right now. But again, 75 million consoles shipped. Like that's like the counter to that is like, they don't care because they're still selling consoles like crazy and it just doesn't matter anymore. And then people can start the conversation up. Well, that's why we need competition. Right.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. Again, each of these three companies now, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, are all swimming in their own ponds now, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, Sony's a mix of Xbox and Nintendo. I've been talking about this for a while. They're kind of in the middle of those two, exclusive, some third party stuff, PC, right? They're kind of a mix, but they don't have to do anything right now, and they don't give a shit, and they don't care about the people that want to be critical of them, saying you're not selling me on the PlayStation. They don't fucking care. They don't. They're the cool kids of the club.
They're selling the hardware already. Like,
right. They're selling the hardware. They don't give a shit. They don't care. They fuck themselves with their games as a service initiative from Jim. We all know this. What's weird to me is the people in this community who know this shit. Again, I understand there's some get back on this. I understand there's still some people out here fighting the good fight in the console war, right? Okay. Team Green, you guys can, sit out here and say, hey, just like 2022, Sony's got shit. They're not showing shit. Well, that's all true. And if you guys want to get the get back and say that Sony's got no games right now, it's true. But it's also true that just like we were talking about, yeah, we were critical of Xbox for sure. That's, again, you don't want to have a year like 2022 with light on the first party side. But at the same time, we weren't sitting out here trying to say Xbox isn't making any games. We knew all the studios were making fucking games. They're not sitting back painting their nails and answering phone calls. They're making fucking games. Now, on Sony's side, with the Games as a Service initiative failing, they set themselves back dramatically.
We have a lot of games that are canceled right now.
Yeah, and they don't understand how much time was lost here, Steele, with these studios. Some of their big studios. They're starting over. Like, we are 3, 4, 5 years away from games from some of these studios now that started making games as a service 2-3 years ago. Like,
and their games just got delayed as well.
And
their
game got delayed because
2026
now is confirmed. We talked about that on PM to PM because we brought that up. I'm like, are they resetting it? Is it going to be canceled? Like, what is Jade Raymond and her team going to do? So Sony really screwed themselves over, and there is no doubt that they have, they don't have the games that they probably thought they were going to have coming out. Again, people try to say, oh, well, we still got the bang. We still got Ghost of Yotai. We still got these games coming. That's all true. You will have these 1-2 games each year that are coming out from Sony. That's great. I have zero problem with it as a gamer. But the point being is they were planning on having 2 to 3 games as a service games each year. Again, don't you guys remember? Do the math. Jim said we're going to have 10 to 12 games as a service games in the next 4 years. That's 2.5 to 3 games per year that for the most part, 80, 90% of them have been wiped out now. So don't sit here and try to sell me on the fact that this is normal for Sony. This isn't normal for Sony. This is what Sony's plans were under Jim Ryan. They weren't planning on just having 1 to 2 first-party games each year. They were planning on having another 2 to 3 games as a service first-party games also coming out with the Ghost of Yotai. Right? Yep. That was the master plan. That's all fucking destroyed. It's gone, obviously.
Yeah, especially after Concord. Concord struck a deep string within them, along with having Bungie come in and it not turn out to be what it needs to be. Yeah. Like, things are on a ride right now.
Right, exactly. I just my overarching point for all that. I meant to say this short because it is what it is. For me, right? For me, this is where Sony's at. I have no expectations of them suddenly showing up with 5 first-party fucking games on deck. Like, I just don't. Now, there's talk that they are considering having a showcase this summer. There's certainly smoke behind the scenes that they are considering it because there are games that they are making that are probably ready to show, and I still scratch my head at some of them, like Cory Barlog and his team that have been working on a game under Sony Santa Monica for 3 years, a new IP. Like, why can't you have an intergalactic tease like they did with Naughty Dog?
The fact that they didn't show no gameplay, no nothing.
No, I gotta imagine they're ready to tease it though, right? Steele, I gotta imagine that there's stuff like that is ready, right? Because not everything was games as a service. There was a lot of it, but not everything was. They had other studios working on stuff like Saros that we just saw from Housemarque, right? Which we're going to talk about.
Which that one came out of nowhere, which is also very strange to me because Housemarque just saw Returnal, and Returnal was known. Again, a lot of people I like Returnal. I think it's a dope co-op game, and I still think me and you at some point need to jump into Returnal to really get some time in there because again, them releasing co-op, I think is one of the biggest and greatest things that Returnal did, especially with the type of game style that it is. And it is a fun game, especially for a game that's chaotic and gets all over the place. But it's a game that also, I don't know if it actually sold 1 million copies, right? For a brand that is so focused on selling their software or saying that they sell a lot of their software. Again, Days Gone Remastered was also a tease at this show, right? Instead of a Days Gone 2, and part of the reason we didn't get a Days Gone 2 is they said that it didn't sell well. But Days Gone 2 sold 5 million copies, while Returnal sold 500,000, and they got greenlit for another game of the same ilk or the same style, seemingly. That's really weird to me. Like, and I get that they got Last of Us, and that's probably one of the bigger reasons why they kind of shut down them doing that game. But it's just some weird things going on, man.
First of all, Brett Bingham. That's why I stress shipped.
Brett!
It does not mean sold, but they have confirmed that they're just slightly behind PS4 pace, which is a pretty damn good pace, right? So, but I did stress shipped, right? I did stress shipped there. I know that's what it is, but they're probably at about 65 million plus sold, right? That's a damn good fucking number, right? Especially for the year that they've had, for the generation.
They're selling hardware, bro.
They're selling hardware like crazy. Like, again, we've never shied away. I have no horse in this race, as Nixie likes to point out again. I don't know why Nixie's got this kick that nobody can talk about anything unless you're invested in that ecosystem. This will be the first generation I have not invested heavily into PlayStation, right? This will be the first generation. So, I am going to talk about it. I have invested heavily into PlayStation. I loved PlayStation, and I still love PlayStation, the idea of PlayStation. I don't like what they're currently doing with their games. They're not giving me any games, which is fine. That's a me thing. Too. I have never said anything other than it's a me thing. But do I wish PlayStation was making a diverse set of games like they used to? Absolutely. And I'm not going to hear, well, they got Astrobot and they got Ratchet and Clank, so they're super. That's
not the games that I'm talking.
Okay, listen,
that is not the games y'all were talking about.
They got Returnal. Those are all cute. Those are all great games, right? Those are all nice little games to have a part of a nice lineup, but they're bread and butter, and they freely admit this themselves, is their third person narrative heavy cinematic driven action games. That's what they are. And again, I don't have anything against those type of games. Love Uncharted. Uncharted is one of my goats, 1 and 2, right? Obviously Last of Us 1, top 10 some days. If you're going to catch me on the right day, Last of Us 1 is top 10. So I love those games, but they haven't made anything recently that appeals to me. But I'm still going to sit here and say, and again, I'm actually on the side of, why are we being so critical of Sony when we know exactly the spot they're in? Now, we've already been critical of them for putting themselves in this spot with the games as a service shit, right? And Hiroki blowing it all up after Jim got ousted. We have been critical of that part of it. But again, when I just go to these showcases, what I was trying to say is, when I look at these game showcases, I didn't expect anything. I didn't, right? And again, they're still selling consoles like crazy, so Sony doesn't care. So why is everybody so critical of this show? Again, they're not going to suddenly produce this massive roadmap of games when they just canceled 8 of their games as a service or somewhere in that neighborhood. That was a vast majority of what that roadmap was going to look like over the next 4 years. Like, that's just not, it's not going to happen. So you're going to have to wait for a bit. Right? You're going to have to wait for a bit. Like I said, I think there's things that they could tease, and they keep dropping little ones here and there. Like we got Intergalactic over the summer last year. And then now, or I should say at the Game Awards. And now we got Saros from Housemarque, which we're going to talk about here. So they are dropping, bits and pieces, like the ones at a time. They just don't have this plethora of games ready. Like they don't, again, their lineup was, and a lot of the resources went towards the games as a service. It is what it is. I just don't know why everybody's going, 2 out of 10, 2 out of 10. Again, if you don't like Eastern style games, I can't argue. That's fine. Whatever. I just look at this game as I look at this show, the state of play, as I do every other show. And I look at how many games I come out of it being interested in. Yeah. Even if it's a genre I'm not going to play, even if the game just looks damn cool and I'm happy, like Liza P DLC, like I count that as a positive. It looks dope as fuck. Like, again, I wish I could play them, but I'm happy for everybody. I just come out of the show and look at it from that point. I'm not counting first party or third party because, again, it's not a showcase. They didn't say, we're going to be showcasing our first party and then pull the rug out from underneath everybody. And all of a sudden there was 1 first party, 2 first party here if you count the remake. And all of a sudden, they showed all third party. No, they didn't do that. They said it was going to be focused on our worldwide partners. So I'm cool with this show. That's why I gave it, as a gamer, just an 8 out of 10, because I came out of this show with more than a handful of games that I'm interested in seeing more of and want to play. And now that I'm finding out that Lost Souls Aside and Tides of Annihilation, 2 games that I thought were going to be more Souls-like, are not, and they are action games, I'm in. Like, okay, now my hype level is even more. So a solid 8 out of 10 for me. So, period.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's dive back into it. I'm going to pick back up. We got Monster Hunter Wilds, Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
No, hold on. We're not doing this. Nick, hold on. Nixie. Okay, we got.
What Nixie said? What he doing? He getting in his bag again.
If they're critical of Sony, the bigger question should be answered instead of hardcore Hardcore's repeating a nonsensical message from a war of yesteryear, LOL. But that's where the discussion is. That's the different level of passion, Nixie. Again, I don't know why you would be in the community listening to shows if you're not above the average consumer or gamer who does not care. That's why I say they're selling like crazy. They're the cool kids of the club. They're still selling like crazy. No, at no times during any of these conversations, Nixie, I don't even think, even the clown shows on both sides who do console war, I don't think any of them claim that the average Joe gamer on the street believes like they do. I think we all realize that we are the 1%ers, right? Within the video game industry, that we are that group who actually cares enough to have deeper conversations. And those conversations are going to be skewed that way, different from what the average Joe Schmo who doesn't even watch a show or only watches the big shows from time to time would talk about. They would have no idea, right? They would have no idea any of this shit is going on. And again, that's why PlayStation is still part of the cool kids club, because again, they buy what their friends buy. That's always been the deal. That's why the 360 kicked ass. Everybody was buying a 360. Everybody wanted to do bro shooter box. That was their popularity. They fucking skyrocketed. And it was because everybody had to be playing Halo, Gears, Call of Duty, all of that with their friends on the Xbox 360. There has been no denying that has ever not been the case. I don't know why you always conflate these conversations, Nixie, with what the greater, wider masses think, because we never come from that perspective. Again, there's a chance that it gets out there, that the conversation gets out there. That's why we talk about the mainstream media still having that power. And obviously the friends of friends of friends who are actually in this community or are passionate about gaming and do watch this stuff, sometimes they'll translate to their, to the average Joe gamer what's going on, and sometimes it'll spread that way. But overall, it's just a mindset. It's an overall feeling, and that's where Nintendo and PlayStation have captured ever since the 360, did its thing. But then once the Xbox One fumbled out the gate, those two captured. Well, Nintendo's always had it, and PlayStation has to a certain degree, but they ran with the ball away. And that's where Xbox found itself in a distant third when it comes to sales and being a part of the cool kids conversation. And they had a huge mountain to climb, and they didn't have the studios to do it. Again, Forza, Halo, Gears, and Forza can only carry you so far. And that's what Phil tried to change. And obviously it didn't work out the way that we all expected it to, but whatever, doesn't matter.
Again, I mean, that's what they had until 2017. So what you make do with that, with after that, you kind of have to put in perspective. I mean, again, it's not even 10 years later yet. You know what I mean? And if we know that games take 5+ years to get made, you see where the games are coming. You see that we have an avalanche that's apparently right over the horizon that we continue to talk about, and we have these little spills that keep happening, right? And seemingly this year, it could very well be hey, if you don't get the proper board, you're not going to be able to snurf on this snow.
And Nixie, please list the shows that you think are objective. I would love to know which shows that you do think that are completely objective about any of this stuff. Again, I think we're more than objective in a lot of sides of things. Again, we have our biases, of course, but please list those shows. I would love to listen to a couple of them if I don't know what they are. And also, please do. And again, Nixie, I don't know why you haven't started your own show, sir. I don't know why, because you have very strong opinions, which is dope as fuck. And I would love to hear you outside of a chat verbalize those things, even if you're not on camera or you just record shit and post it. I would love to hear your arguments, Nixie. I'd love to hear you talk about this gaming industry on a long form podcast and hear your thoughts. And that's legit. Like I would like to get to know more, because again, when you come across in chat, and chat's very hard to do, obviously it's short.
Yeah, in text, it's always
and you lose context when there's not verbal. But it is difficult to gauge you some weeks on what you think is actually being said and like my thoughts, because sometimes what you come across as thinking I'm thinking like isn't what I'm saying at all. And it's weird because I'm like, are we having two different conversations here? And I love to hear long form from you and expound upon this industry. I think you should think about it, Nixie. I think you would have a pretty big audience out the gate.
I mean, that's definitely interesting perspective and a interesting business model. I mean, again, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I like hearing, but I like hearing different people's perspectives, especially when they feel genuine about them and it come from different angles. They challenge the things that are happening. I mean, that's what it's about. That's what opens up that conversation, man. So, Crow does mention though in chat that Meta revealed that 1 million players bought a Quest 3S for Batman VR. Quest is still in just the VR spaces, it is still in a very interesting place to where exclusives in that aspect can move people, right? Now, for console gaming, I just feel, and I've said this multiple times, that we're just beyond that now. And that's why I feel the way that I do about exclusives. But again, that's why I always say that, but that's how I've always felt, right? I'm in the ecosystem. I prefer Xbox, again, because of the ecosystem. PlayStation will never be able to offer me what Xbox has been able to offer me. And again, just like how Phil had mentioned that the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 era was the era where a lot of people shifted over, and that's where they lost a lot of people at, right? Because people started their libraries, they started their friend groups, whatever the case may be. It's the same thing for me on my end, but I'm not in a place where I'm feeling down or bad about it. Like, I'm more excited than ever before, but my thing has always been, I want more people to play the games that I like. I need more people on Halo. I need more people on Gears. I need people to actually realize and give proper respect to these games that I know are goats of the gaming industry and literally get mechanics and systems pulled out of them. I will always and forever go back to nobody wanted armor and shields in games and said it was a problem when Halo was doing it. And then we are now in a modern era where that's where everybody likes to play. But it was a problem back then. And then when people play Halo now, they're like, oh, well, it needs to be different. Huh? It's so weird. There is nobody else in the industry that offer these types of things. But that, again, it's neither here or there. Providing some additional background. But getting back into the state of play. Exclusives matter for sure in the VR space because it's still a niche market. You have to be able to move your consumer into certain aspects. And again, PlayStation does have that as something in their tuck, although again, it hasn't quite hit the way that they've wanted it either. Again, that's just something to consider, that's something to think about. 5-0 Trey Gaming, he says, you guys are awesome. I may not, as a 20+ year Xbox guy, agree with the way Xbox and how it's going, but I love y'all. Keep up the good work. Hey man, Trey, appreciate you. Again, we're just keeping it real about how we feel about what's going on in the industry, what we're seeing going on, and again, just as gamers overall, man, we want to kick it with y'all, kick some info back and forth and talk about what's happening out here. But get a little bit deeper into it here. Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Pong, did Shinobi Art of Vengeance do anything for you? Did you see this and we're like, oh snap, they bringing the Shinobi back? I know for me, again, I was telling chat, I didn't play Shinobi back in the day, so this will be literally my first kind of foray into Shinobi, at least that I can remember, and it looks phenomenal to me, right? And I typically don't play these, side-scrolling, Metroidvania style games. So, how did you feel about Shinobi?
Again, I don't do platformers anymore, but I gotta love. I give all respect. Like I just was when we were going through our upcoming weeks, our upcoming games of the week. Bro, what they do to modernize the old games that I used to play, obviously because that's all we pretty much had back in the day, is amazing. And Shinobi looks phenomenal. I'm so happy for COG and all the Shinobi fans out there who love these games, and Mav was super hyped for this too, and still do 2D platformers and Metroidvanias. I'm so happy for you guys because get the quality. You guys are all eating good now. Like that whole genre has come back in a fantastic
100%.
way. It never really left, but there's more options now. And now the fact that they're revisiting some of the older IP and bringing it back. I talked about this when the rumors about Castlevania was coming out. I would love to see a Lords of Shadow, 3D Castlevania, like we got on the 360 come and that be the main game. But if they did a 2D on the side as well, like this, and brought forward the 2D model, I would love it. I think this is still a very viable way of making games and bringing IP. So Shinobi looked fantastic. All the effects, the art style, everything on screen looked awesome. And if I was still into 2D platformers, I would absolutely play it for sure.
100%.
But I'm happy for everybody. It looks cool.
And 50 Trade Gaming, he brings up something that's interesting to talk about, which we can definitely get into. I wanted to dive into it after we finish this section out, because I think it will flow pretty well. I can just all say it what it is, just kind of up front, so people can kind of start getting their opinions and running. Chat, get involved, man. If y'all got, tell us how you feel. What do you think? What are you seeing? But 5.0 Trade Gaming says, it's also sad to hear no one on the Xbox side cares about exclusivity and making your console platform feel important just because Phil says so. Now, I think that's something interesting to get into. Chat, jot your feels down, jot your ideas down on how you would kind of respond to that, or how you feel. Do you agree with Trey that's kind of what you see is what's happening? Again, I understand that perspective, but we'll get into it. Let's get through these games and we'll jump into that topic, because I think that's a dope thing to talk about. The next one that showed up was Sonic Racing. Is there anything that you wanted to add on to Sonic Racing? I know that you're not super big on the kart racers. But
I like him. If I got a chance to play him, I play him. But yeah, no, it looked great. Again, Sonic Racing looked awesome. I'm just not a big kart racer fan, but it looked dope as fuck. I just love Sega's resurgence right now. I love what they're doing. So I thought it was cool.
Dope. Yeah, I felt the exact same way. Let me stop these videos before they take up bandwidth and whatnot. Next one we had up was Digimon Storytime Stranger. I think this looked like a turn-based game, from what I can tell. I couldn't tell much else, but it seemed like it was turn-based. If it's turn-based, it's not for me. I'm not going to be playing it. It's cool to see Digimon still have some form of reference. The fact that this game is even being made. There was another Digimon game that came out prior. I can't remember the exact name of that one, but Digimon, man, for those who are interested in it, I still think Digimon is dope. I do think that, I think that's what kind of pulled me away from Pokemon for some time, was Digimon. I also came up in that Monster Rancher era as well. So there's a lot of different things and different types of monsters and perspectives that I kind of got. So, but I'm always going to have a special place for Digimon. Dope ass IP as overall. Anything on Digimon, Paul?
No. Sir.
Okay. I didn't think
I
so.
missed the whole Digimon. Yeah. We're good.
Hey, all good.
Happy for Digimon fans, though. Happy for Digimon fans. Another game. Can't believe that franchise is still around after all this time. It's good.
Yeah. Then the next one. This one was a big one. This is also one that we came to find out is not going to be just exclusive to the Sony platform. This game is coming to PC as well, which is very interesting. The other thing about this game, Lost Soul aside, is this game started 10 years ago, apparently, as some additional details have come out. It was being made by one person. I don't know if he's gotten help since then, or if it's still under one person, knowing that Sony has now put some backing behind it as well. That can put some additional oomph into it. But for a decade-old game, I saw some people saying that, this game would have been cool a decade ago, but it didn't show well here. And I do agree somewhat that it didn't present itself as well as it did, I want to say, a couple years ago. A couple years ago, it did. On the action side of it, it looked a little bit more organic, for lack of a better way to put it. It just looked a little bit more natural. And here, there is something that feels off about it, right? And what I mean by that is, like, the characters are kind of stiff. They're not showing a lot of emotion. But again, if the game is still being made by one person, I can only expect so much. But is there a lot of cool stuff happening in this game? Yes. Lost Soul aside is definitely one of my highly anticipated action games. It's speaking to me in many ways. The character itself is super dope. The enemies design is outstanding. The flow of combat, again, you get into those Devil May Cry vibes coming off of Final Fantasy 16. Hey, again, I played and said, look, man, this game and the other game that we're going to talk about later had more gameplay in it than I did in the first 10 hours of FF16. But Lost Soul side looks super dope. Love the design of everything, and can't wait to jump into it. But it is coming to PC day and date. Pong.
Yep.
I thought this game was announced for PlayStation only originally.
It was.
Okay, I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
were you surprised that this game was also now coming to PC? Do you think that they started lining things up? We've been talking about, hey, they're going to start bringing these games to PC sooner and sooner.
Yep.
And it looks like, so, the games that they're partnering with, they're helping with, whatever the case, they are expanding that base out.
It's first party still. That's the new rules. So, or old rules, depending on who you're going to talk to. But again, when you publish something, it's first party. So, if we're going to go that route, then again, these games count as first party for Sony. So again, this adds to their lineup. But it is a single player game going to PC day and date as a first party. So yeah, no, it doesn't shock me at all. Again, the success, Hiroki's telling you what they're going to do. Everybody can, continue to delay the inevitable and cry out against it, but eventually this is going to start happening more and more. But no, I'm not surprised here. I think that gives the best opportunity for the game for success. Especially like you said, Steel, it is a game that has been around for a little bit now. From a single or very small team developer, you got to give these games the best chance possible. And I think that certainly does it. So I think it's awesome, man. It doesn't surprise me at all. And again, I'm just happy that this game is turning out to be an action game and not a Souls-like, because this is a game I want to try out. I love the aesthetic of it. I don't care if it looks older. Again, coming from a small team. It gives
I think
vibe.
it looks fine. I don't even know. What do people mean? Like, would you be able to, what do people mean by saying that it looks older?
Again, you guys all know me. I'm not critical like that. I don't care. Count this is a AA game. Then I don't care. As a AA game,
Sure.
This game has fantastic visuals. I'm all for it, man. So again, it's got the Eastern flair to it. And again, now that it's an action game versus a Souls-like, I'm in. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I was excited for this game, even if it wasn't Souls-like, just to see people play it. But now I'm going to take a chance on it. I think it looks awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think it looks good as well. Then you had Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza, which we talked about a little bit earlier. They don't have a video for this one. Again, I'm not going to be jumping into it. I know Paul said he's going to probably jump into it at some point later. But the demo is on Friday, which this past Friday, yesterday. They did have a demo that went live for Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. And again, people are saying that the action combat is really good. So
yep.
If you're into Yakuza, or especially the Like a Dragon series. Then up next, you had Yakuza coming to Dave the Diver. I don't have much to add on to this. It's cool seeing Dave the Diver to continue to get new updates and things added to it. And yes, it's interesting. People definitely have been grabbing onto this game. So anything to add on for Dave the Diver?
I want to jump into Dave the Diver at some point. I still haven't, but again, just way too many games. I really want to try it out. No, I just think it's dope all the DLC they've done. They've done Godzilla and shit like that. Like, I love when games do that. Balatro right now, another indie game I got to jump into, is doing all that DLC where they're bringing card packs in with all the different characters from different games. Bro, I love that shit. I love when the indie scene jumps in and grabs some main, big AAA IP and adds it to their game, and they cut deals like that. Bro, it's so dope. I just think it's a cool concept that they did here, and I can't wait to try Dave the Diver at some point. I will.
It's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Again, I always appreciate when games continue to get updates. That at least lets me know that they're doing well, especially for a game that's it doesn't typically can be considered to fit in with the modern gamer, right? So super cool. WWE 2K25. The main thing that they showed with this was essentially the My Park portion, or the online portion of 2K25. They're essentially bringing that everything that they've been doing in 2K basketball now to wrestling, and you are damn sure better well believe you're going to be spending whatever the VC is going to be in this game to get all the additional shit in it and to level up your character. Now, in the previous wrestling games, they weren't like that. You would just progress through the game and get your character to be better. But I think you'd be almost kind of smoking on something if you didn't expect for them to definitely 2K the fuck out of this game. What do you think, Paul? Do you agree with me on that? Seeing what they're doing with the kind of my player portion of it, taking it online, taking it to the park kind of style that they've been doing with the 2K basketball games, bringing it to wrestling. I mean, again, the concept of it is super dope. The kid in me, like playing when I used to play wrestling games back in the day, like I can't lie and say that, oh damn, I wouldn't be interested to play this wrestling game because of some of these aspects. That seems super fun. I just have a feeling that they are going to 2K basketball the fuck out of this game and turn it into something completely different.
This is the natural 2K evolution of WWE. Yeah, I mean, again, monetize the hell. Strauss is like, make more money out of 2K, please. Out of WWE 2K, please. Please make more money. And so this is what they're doing. Of course it is. They're gonna get people. Still, again, just like the people, I look at this shit and I think it's dumb. Like, as much as I played NBA 2K, I never went and did the whole My Player thing. I fucking could care less. But there's a whole group of people that's all they want to do. It's pay to win.
I can't.
It's pay to win. Absolutely pay to win.
Yeah, no, 100%.
For some reason, it gets a pass. Like, everybody gets it up in arms about any talk of pay to win. We've even had some bullshit conversations about games that weren't pay to win, like Helldivers 2 and PvE. Like, we've had full conversations, but everybody just ignores the pay to win in 2K. Okay, whatever. I think it's funny as hell. I've always wanted to jump back into wrestling games. Again, sports games in general, though, these days, I just don't have the time for. And so I just don't. But I want to jump back into WWE. WWE looks cool. If you're into that whole My Player side of things, this island concept that they're coming together with, looks dope if you're into that shit. They're going to give you a bunch of garbage to buy and garbage to do. Hey, go have fun, man. I'm not here to pocket watch anybody. So you go have fun. But it absolutely is 1000% a business decision on 2K's part to do this to WWE after the success of My Player in NBA, for sure. Easy.
Yeah, I just and I see Yobi's excited about it. I don't want this to have to be one of those games just because they're trying to make it more online player friendly. And again, because they release these games every year, just like with My Player, it is such a waste. And again, like to Paul's point, it is extremely pay to win. And everybody gets up in arms about MMOs and these other games, gotcha games, and all these other games that do something akin to this. But we have games that have been doing this for X amount of time and literally releasing a game that is very similar to the game that you played last year and you resetting your progress. It's just dumb. Hopefully that's not the way that it goes, but I do think that that's what's going to end up happening. So shout out to WWE, man. If you're into it, hey, let me know how it's going to end up being. I know Yobi will, so there's that. Borderlands 4 was next up on the list. Saw a lot of people this week kind of deflated about Borderlands 4. They seemed like they were not excited or hype about this announcement. They want to see more come from it, especially after Borderlands 3 kind of come out and being on the weaker side of things. I will say, for me at least, coming off of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, I got a good taste in my mouth for Borderlands. Pause. Now, I'm not going to say Tiny Tina's wasn't perfect in no way, shape, or form. Not at all. Especially when it came to Endgame. What people told me about Borderlands Endgame, I didn't get that from Tiny Tina's. Tiny Tina's is different. It's not just regular, your old Borderlands. So I've also been seeing people have a conversation about Borderlands possibly being overrated. So I don't know. I think the games I think they've been pretty cool. I didn't like 3. Borderlands 4 seems to be bringing some of the hype back. I liked what I saw from the trailer. I thought it was interesting. So, Pong, I know you're a Borderlands dude, right? This game is coming out in September. Got a release date. You had Randy on stage, good old Randy boy. And
straight off the slopes, baby. Straight off the slopes.
Looks like we have some crazy stuff happening.
Well, of course, because he looks like a wild man, bro. He looks like a wild man. Yeah, I mean, again, I freely admit Borderlands is one of those games. It just is for me. I don't care. Again, I said Borderlands 3 wasn't as good as 2 or 1. I agreed with everybody on that, but I still had a great time with it. In fact, I was just playing it earlier this year. I had re-downloaded it and was playing it more of it again. I absolutely love it. I love Borderlands. And again, what I saw, because they actually brought gameplay, is more fucking Borderlands, which again, to me, is fantastic. Please don't reinvent the wheel. I don't care if some people are sick and tired of Borderlands. I don't give a shit. There's still a lot of us who love Borderlands. I hope the writing is better this time around in Borderlands than Borderlands 3. And I hope the DLC is of higher quality. That was a big problem for Borderlands 3, is that it was really hit or miss. There was a couple good ones in there, but there was a couple bad ones as well. They're like really terrible. But Borderlands 4, yeah, I'm all in. Again, I'm going to be extremely busy come September. There's going to be really really getting ramping up and pivotal. This year is going to be stupid. And for me personally in real life, so I don't know how much time I'm going to have, but Borderlands 4, will be a day one for me because I can't wait. I mean, I can't. Like, I think it's going to look so fucking awesome. So I'll be hopping in. It was good to see Randy. I'm glad we got a date. Interesting that we also got a date too, on a side note, because they are now owned by 2K. So this is a 2K game, and we also know 2K owns this little company called Rockstar. And Rockstar supposedly has this little game called GTA 6 that is supposedly still on track for this year. Fall of this year. September is Borderlands. So when do you release Grand Theft Auto? I think me and Mav had a conversation. We said if it is this year, it's after. Borderlands will be first in September, and then I think that GTA will be October or November. So
I think GTA is going to be a holiday. It's going to be a Christmas game.
Because
they're going to want to give people as much. I think that's the perfect time for GTA, because again, that's guaranteeing sales. I think they're going to fuck around, sell 50 million copies when that game comes out. I'm probably over exaggerating by quite a bit. I mean, I'm not going to buy the game day one if it's not going to be 60. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, shout out to Borderlands 4. Next up on that list was Split Fiction. Split Fiction looked dope, man. Again, from the same people who made said the game earlier, It Takes Two. This game looks interesting as well. Got a little bit more detail, a little bit more interaction from the two characters. Any additional details for Split Fiction, Paul? Still, is it looking good to you?
No, it's not. It looks fine. It looks great for the people who love those types of games. Again, I'm excited for the people. They're not my games, right? I'm not. I don't care about Joseph Ferris and his games. I think I played one or two of them, but again, that it's not my style of game. Again, a lot of platforming, a lot of nonsense that I just don't do anymore. But for all the people who love co-op, and again, I watched It Takes Two. I watched everybody play it, right? I mean, everybody in the Fun Spec fam was playing it, right? So, and they were all teaming up and doing playthroughs and had an absolute blast with it. And again, that's beautiful. Those games that allow you to play with your spouse or your best friend or your kiddos or whatever the case may be, that's dope, man. And that engaging cooperation. So I'm happy. And Joseph Ferris is a cool dude, obviously. Those games are always up for Game of the Year when he puts one out. So they're high quality. So yeah, I think this concept here appeals to me more than It Takes Two, because it's got kind of a choose your own adventure book style. It's sci-fi kind of future. I like the aesthetic in this one. But again, it's not going to be a game I play, but I'm happy for everybody because these games do excite people and it is cool. So.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm going through, probably going to continue playing It Takes Two, see if we can finish that up with my youngest, actually. So we started playing that. That's been actually pretty cool. Some heartfelt moments in there, man. That story is deep. Directive 8020. To be frank with you, Pong, this wasn't a game that I put on my list for games that I would like that pulled my attention. I don't remember much about it. Directive 8020 is the story of the brave astronauts of Cassiopeia who embark on a deadly mission to save humanity, but their ship is infected by an alien life form I do remember this. The fucking alien was copying what people look like and shit. It's like
mimic.
This shit is literally fucking Among Us, but more real. That's essentially what this game was. Looks interesting, but it's not gonna be for me. I ain't playing no goddamn scary game. This game looks like it could be even worse with some of the scary shit that it could possibly do. So, hey, for those who are into it, hopefully y'all liked it. The next one on that list is gonna be Five Nights at Freddy's: Secret of the Mimic. Shout out to Five Nights at Freddy's for everybody who's into that.
Don't get it, but yeah, shout out to Five Nights.
My kiddos might jump in there, so we'll see. Then we had The Midnight Walk. It's described as a handcrafted dark fantasy adventure and will be released on PlayStation 5, VR, and VR2. This game looks interesting. People were saying that the claymation in this game looks better than what is in the what's the game? Midnight. The game is about compulsion, Paul.
South of Midnight?
South of Midnight. Yeah,
Okay.
people were comparing this game to South of Midnight, saying the claymation in this game is done better than in South of Midnight. I just found it interesting that people were making that
conversation. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, that's
This is in the dark alleys.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
in the
This is one of those.
bullshit show?
Yeah. This is one of those dark alley conversations that has been kind of happening.
What the fuck? What are we doing? What are we? First of all, if you're serious, then you don't have an eye for animation if you don't realize that they're actually two different styles.
But it's better here. No, Lydian, they not the stop motion. They said the claymation.
But South of Midnight's not fucking claymation. This is fucking Tim Burton. This game here, which looks dope. I love.
No, it looks cool.
Game.
Yeah, it does look cool.
It was different because it was first person. Like normally we see those, and it gave this like side scrolling. Normally we see that type of style, that Tim Burton style, in like side scrollers and that kind of stuff. We've had that. I love that style. And in those types of games, I was not expecting a first-person kind of shooter game in a way. Like, I was like, oh, shit, this is kind of cool when I went back and watched it. But anyways, what a weird conversation for people to have. But I guess that's the clown show.
Yeah. So, but shout out to the Midnight Walk. It definitely looked interesting. Definitely looks like to be on the scary side of things. First person for sure. Puzzles. It looks really dope, though. It looks like they really did well with that. Lydian, that was the point. Lydian said there's no claymation in South of Midnight. That's why I brought it up. Because I thought it was funny. Yeah, the stop motion. I don't think the stop motion is it. If they were talking about the stop motion, which they reiterated a few times, claymation. The stop motion in one game isn't necessarily better than the other game. I don't. It's stop motion. I think they're done well in both games. Anyway, Darwin's Paradox. This is the squid side-scroller action platformer kind of game. It looked interesting. You know, Pong, this kind of reminded me, what game did it remind me of that I'm thinking about? It kind of reminded me a little bit of Oddworld in some ways. Kind of like, it gave me some of those feels. I don't know what it was about it specifically. Maybe it was just the character. Maybe it was how he was moving through the world. I don't know. I haven't played Oddworld in fucking forever either, since literally the PlayStation 2. So maybe I got some rose tinted glasses on. I'm not thinking about things right. Maybe it's the factory stuff that I was seeing in here that kind of made me think about that. Maybe it was how he was traversing through the world. I don't know. But Darwin's Paradox, it looked interesting. It looked funny. It looked cute. So what do you think about what did you think about Darwin's, the Squid Game?
Oh, that was dope. It looked fun. It looked
Nice.
fun. It looked fun as hell. Yeah.
I
like the 2D, 3D background games, like Inside and those types of games. And this gave me a obviously much more colorful kind of vibe to that, where you got puzzles that you have to go through. Obviously, they do change perspectives in this one as well, where you see him doing Frogger and ditching the cars and that kind of stuff. So I think that I think it's cool. And I thought that the way he uses tentacles and his ink in the game, I thought it was dope. So I saw this one out of the corner of my eye and I was like, oh wait, what's this? This looks kind of fun. It's not necessarily one I would pick up and play, but yeah.
All right, then next up on that list, we had Warriors Abyss that ended up showing up here. Warriors Abyss, again, this game, I almost put the ducats down for it, man. It looked really interesting. Again, I haven't played Dynasty Warriors in quite some time. I like these rogue style of games. They allow me to kind of pick them up, get a couple hours in, maybe, or an hour or so in here and there when I can, when I don't really feel like jumping into anything else, and have a lot of good gameplay. I ended up jumping into Avowed instead. So perspective for you guys, if you want to hear that. Again, Paul talked about it earlier, beginning of the show. Warriors Abyss seems like a super fun game. Looks like it has a lot in it as well. Has some depth to it. So that was dope to hear from Paul earlier. Is there anything else that you wanted to add on additionally to Warriors Abyss?
I know. I think I said it all in my intro. So again,
Perfect.
great game. If you guys are looking for just a fun roguelite set in the Dynasty, well, I can't. If you're just looking for a fun roguelite with a little bit different take that you might not have seen in other roguelites, because it is based on a Musu fighter, go check this out. Again, for $25, you could do a lot worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Again, I took mine and got Avowed. So, then next up, you had Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny. That is going to be this was a remaster, correct? Samurai's Destiny returned with a higher resolution graphics and modernized controls to perform Eason critical counterattacks and intense swordplay per Sony's YouTube description. It's going to be interesting to see how much they ended up changing this game. I do need to jump into Onimusha at some point. I've never played Onimusha, ever. So don't know how these games play, don't know how they feel, don't know if the new Onimusha would even be worth it, although it looks cool enough to me. But will Onimusha 2 be worth jumping into? Who knows? Onimusha 2, Paul, do you have anything you want to add on to this remaster happening?
Yeah, I'm so excited for this. Again, I love when they're doing these remasters. I've talked about this plenty of times. As long as they're going to treat them with respect and bring them forward, I think it's great. Especially the older franchises. Now, haven't agreed with every single remaster that's been done, and obviously some have not been treated with respect, and I say that that's bullshit, and just leave it alone if you're not going to do it the right way. But we are getting bigger and better examples this generation, and I think this is one of the big this is a big thing to me as far as letting new generations try games and IPs coming forward. I think it's great that we have so many good examples now, Steel, of remasters, not even full remakes, right? We got good examples of full remakes too. We got another one coming here in Snake Eater, which we're going to talk about. But just the remasters themselves, we've got so many companies doing good work now, both first party remasters and then also, letting third parties like Night Dive Studios handle some of these remasters who treat these games as they should be treated. So Onimusha, obviously the reboot is a big reason why they're doing this. I love the fact that it's being rebooted. This was a gem back in the day. I love Onimusha. We already got the one that was remastered previously. Now they're doing 2. And then obviously there's hope that they're going to do 3. Now, again, I didn't play much of 3 back in the day. I was trying to think about it. At least I don't remember it as well as I do 1 and 2. But these games are awesome, and that a new generation can experience them. Yeah, they're going to show some of their age because they're not full remakes, but I still think it's dope because there are new fans being created every day through these remasters. There really is. Now, how big it is, that doesn't really matter to me. The facts are the fact that they bring them forward, they live on, they can be playable, and new people can discover them, and us old heads who do like these games can go back and play them again and have them in even a better experience right now. So I think it's awesome. It looks great.
But shout out to Onimusha, man. I mean, again, it looks right up my alley. It's something I'm interested in. I just never played it. I wonder if the emulated version actually has any mods that like clean up the looks and all that stuff too. I don't have time for it right now, but anyway, Onimusha Way of the Sword was next, and this one definitely is right up my alley, right? Again, as somebody has never played it before, you play more into the fantasy elements of it. We got to see more kind of what the gameplay is going to look like as well, potentially. It did come across a little bit more, I would probably say kind of like Wolong-ish, maybe more in that Souls vein potentially. Maybe it'll be more on the action side of things. I know Pong was telling me a little bit earlier that it did lean a little bit more on the, let's say, Souls side of things back in the day with Onimusha. But not quite. I mean, Pong was saying that there's some loss and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that with this one. It looks like it's going to be of that ilk, but we'll see how it ends up playing out. Maybe it plays more similarly to like a Neo as an example, right? I like the character, his kind of funny kind of attitude that he has, but also have the potential to be serious. I think they sold this game really well with this trailer. So how did you feel about this one? Did this one get you a little bit further in? Do you think that this one might be one that may not be for you? I like the fact they were using the environment and stuff. So
We'll wait if they lean into that. Again, I would understand if they went that route with the popularity of the show Souls-like genre. I can't sit here and deny that. Do I want that? No, because I won't play it, and I would love to play a new Onimusha. But we'll see. We'll wait and see. But no, just Character animation still looked amazing. Environments already look amazing. And again, this isn't coming out until next year, so there's a lot of time. But I think they're on the right path here still. And like you said, caught on to the slight humor right out the, it really works well. And if that carries through the game, that's going to be a bonus. If they could pull that off as well. But I think they're on the right path here from what I'm seeing. And I think a lot of people are excited about this. So 2026 next year, again, we got plenty to play this year, got tons to think about. So we'll see what next year brings with this game. But I definitely think we might have another nice hit on our hands here. So for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to Onimusha. Next on that list was Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. Again, this is another one that I personally have never played. I like the way that this remaster is looking. Well, essentially, it's pretty much a remake at this point, if I'm not mistaken. Some people said that there was some gameplay stuff that was shown at some point, and people were saying that there's not much that's changed over the original version. I don't know how true or not that is. I haven't looked at any additional details other than what we had been shown up to this point. And I thought everything looked good. So, I mean, I'm interested in playing it, but that's, again, me being a Phantom Pain fan. So maybe that's just a me thing. If it plays into that or has some similar playstyle, which I thought that it did from the kind of the over-shoulder look that they gave us from some of the previous trailers. We'll see. I'm interested in playing it. So, anything else on Snake Eater?
Nope. I will play it at some point. I will get to it again. The original Metal Gears blew my mind away when we got to the PlayStation generation. Played through them with my buddies, but was never have claimed to be like the biggest Metal Gear fan of all time. I really enjoy parts of them for sure. Never got into Snake Eater that much, but now with this and how good it's looking, I definitely think I'm going to jump in at some point and check it out. And so, yeah, can't wait, man. Again, every showing, they just keep showing more and more, and nothing but goodness right here, man. I saw some people trying to claim it doesn't look that good, and I was like, "Excuse me, what are we talking about here?"
Yeah, that was something else I heard on the in the dark alleys. That it doesn't weird. Look the way that it needs comments. To. I don't know.
It's just weird comments, bro. Like again, I think that it's part of social media, part of today's society where everything is mid. That is a genuine attitude that people take for attention or for whatever the reasons, or simply because of the fact they are burnt out on what they claim they love. And they don't want to admit it to themselves that they're burnt out, but their perception is skewed. And to me, it's sad that we're at this point where everything is that way. Again, there's real conversations to be had. There's stuff that is definitely happening that people also like to just cancel and nix out and drown out. But I think that overall, the sentiment that everything is mid, everything doesn't look as good as it should. Oh my God, why didn't they do that? Like, that is pervasive now in a lot of the conversations. And that's where I get off the train. Again, I will have critical conversations and criticize and do that kind of stuff. But that's where I get off the train and say, that's not, again, as a gamer, if you're just going to call me as a gamer, if I wasn't talking about this stuff on podcasts, I would never see a trailer for Snake Eater and go, oh, that doesn't look good. What are they doing? Like, Konami, why would you even bring it back this way? Like, why, that doesn't look like, what the fuck are we talking about here? It looks fucking fantastic. I think it looks great. The fact that Konami is even making games right now is also a win for this industry, because Konami was done. Konami was toast. They didn't have a way forward. And now we're talking about getting a Castlevania coming back as well.
Yeah.
Like, just the fact that Konami's bringing these games forward, even if they're not doing anything original here because they're using their old game, but they are just recreating it for a modern audience in the modern, I just said the modern audience thing, but what I'm talking about as far as bringing it up to date, like, that is fantastic for Konami. And this is going to help drive their business. And if we get a new Castlevania game because of it, oh, fuck yeah, let's go. Konami being back in the industry is awesome. So yeah, I just can't hear some of this nonsense out here, man, these days. It's weird. Strange.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So shout out to Snake Eater. I'm definitely interested in that one. Hell is Us was another one that was shown here as well. Hell is Us was a standout to me. Again, it's my type of style. It's in that Souls-esque genre. We'll see how it ends up playing when it ends up getting closer to release and what people are feeling about it. We did get a September 4th release date on it, and this trailer just sold me more on it, man. It's coming to PC as well. This game is looking really good. Hell's us, Pong. This game is probably not necessarily a game for you per se, but I did. Did you like any more of what you saw from it?
Yeah, I fell in love with this. Like I was watching it, and again, yes, could this wind up being way too horror for me? Like, yes, easily this could be.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Yeah,
but there was no Steel. But there was enough. This was like just the trailer itself gave me some Kojima vibes with the weirdness factor of what the fuck is going on, because the story's jumping and you got this weird big fat character in the middle of it that like is comic book style fat. Like it's just strange because you're going from this realistic kind of dystopian future cyberpunk-esque kind of militarized whatever, and then you got these weird stylings in there. Yeah. I'm in on this as long as we don't get too horror. Like I think I might be in on this. This looks kind of cool. It's third person Steel, which is up your alley. The effects, the short little blips of combat that we had in there
looks good.
Looked like it's going to be extremely bright, extremely vibrant. Yeah, I'm liking this Hell Is Us thing right now. I'm in on this, man. Let's go.
And actually looking back through it now, I mean, at least from a little bit of gameplay we saw there, it looks like it might have a little bit more action to it than most. So
I think we're just getting kind of the story. They're kind of get you to the kind of some of the atmosphere, right? That's what normally happens on these teasers. And then they blipped. I think the game itself, those Steel, once you get into it, looks like there's going to be some exploration as you're walking through the city. You got this drone. I'm assuming you're going to be able to use the drone to your advantage, flying over your head. So I think this is compelling to me the way they showed this off. I want to see more gameplay for sure. But again, I don't need gameplay. I'm not one of those dudes. I got a good idea that this is going to be one of those weird, wacky, crazy kind of Eastern influence games that already kind of grips me. And now I just need to see more. But I think it's got potential, Steel. So I'm looking forward to more of this.
Same. Lies of P Overture was the next one that was showed up. Apparently, this is a prequel to Lies of P. Lies of P is a good game, man, if people are into it. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like a standalone. It is actual DLC for the original, right?
Yes. It is. It is DLC for the original game.
It is DLC. Because it looked like it could be a standalone game. Like legit, I thought that we were getting like a Lies of P standalone, like a second one already. I was like, holy shit, this team is working. But just how much that when they showed this trailer, Steel, I was fascinated by and again, I only played like an hour of Lies of P when it came out. Because again, not me. But I'm just saying, like, just the transformation with the winterized locale, the environment, the shift in atmosphere from the first one was nuts, just based upon the weather. That's why I love weather in games. That's why, again, Division 1 with the snow is still some of the greatest atmosphere ever in a video game. But just that transformation was crazy, and that's why I thought it was almost a standalone game. I was like, holy shit, they're bringing out another one already. Holy fuck. Way to go. Impressive. But no, it's DLC. Happy for all the Lies of P's fans, because that game did very, very well. Happy for the dev studio, too, to come out of nowhere. Again, one of those Eastern studios that a few years ago came out of nowhere. And everybody was questioning whether or not they would actually be able to pull off the game. They pulled off the fucking game. They nailed the landing. So
really good.
Yep.
Dreams of Another. I didn't have any interest in this one. Was more on the weird side, traveling through the dream space. You got a gun.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. I mean, the concept of it is interesting. It's not for me, but yeah, you know, for those
I had a PS5 or a VR.
One.
Yeah, if I had a PS5 or a VR, I would totally play this game. This game looks dope in concept and everything. I love the literal art style that this game has, with dot like painting Steel throughout, and the fact that it is a shooter, except that when you shoot, you actually create stuff instead of kill stuff. Again, that's a statement unto itself. And again, I don't mind games that make statements. I think it's kind of cool to twist things like that.
Yeah, as long as it makes sense for your game. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it makes sense. This would be one of those games that I would definitely just jump into just to experience. Even if I didn't stick with it, I just want to experience it with a controller in my hand and feel what that world feels like, because it just looks so fucking creative. Again, it's different from other things that we see these days. And that is something that I always champion. It looks awesome. It looks original.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the main thing. That was my main takeaway. It was definitely unique for everything that was shown. Next up is going to be Days Gone Remastered being shown.
Sly Crow says we're getting frame drops. Are you seeing frame drops on your side or no?
Frame drops? Yeah, it looks like it might be dropping a little bit here. Sorry, Crow, if it's messing up a little bit. OBS is dropping a little bit here. I don't see why the connection shouldn't be struggling, but I just wanted to make sure there was nothing else that I had running in the background here real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Just wanted to check some things. I only got 2 different windows open. That should be taking up anything. I don't have anything but OBS that's really taking up the network. Chrome is doing a little something. I don't know, man. Hopefully it flattens out. If it's still bothering y'all, again, apologies on that. I know YouTube will clear it up on the back end, so there is that. But we will continue. Hopefully, things work out here. It's trying to keep up. As long as it doesn't flatline, I think we'll be all right. But we got Days Gone Remastered. Now, I don't think that I'm going to end up playing Days Gone. I don't necessarily have a plan to, but again, I'm kind of over the whole zombies thing. They are going to be actually bringing in more hordes of zombies into this remaster, so that is something to consider. The game's going to be even a little bit more gripping for people who are interested into it. For the Days Gone Remastered, Pong, is this something that you would probably get to? Was this something that maybe you get on PC?
Yeah,
for a good deal and get the upgrade for? What you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna do I'm going to pick it up on PC at some point, and I think the PC version doesn't actually get the new game; it just gets DLC, which adds all the additional content that they're bringing to the remastered version on PlayStation. I would have loved to have seen the 10-15 hours I put into the first one on my PS4 before I sold it. I really did enjoy. I thought it was very cool. Again, I'm not zombied out. I will always play zombie games. I love zombie games. I love the hordes in this, and I didn't even get to like the big stuff in that time frame. But what I've seen people play and the crafting and the unique ways that you can take on the hordes, they are actually scary too as fuck. They are no joke. But I really thought this was a great game, and I thought Ben Studios should make a second one. I thought Sony made a mistake here by not having them do a second one, but that's neither here nor there. The fact they're putting out a remaster, they're allowing, if you own Days Gone Steel on PS4, it's a 10. We've talked about this. We talked about this since the beginning of the generation. That's okay with me. Like, again, $10 for the additional, because it's not just an upgraded version of the game with visuals and frame rate. You're also getting new modes. They put new horde mode in here and all that kind of stuff. So you're actually getting a whole lot more game. And for a $10 upgrade, whatever, cool, go ahead. Would I love it to be free if I was a PlayStation owner? Sure. But if they're going to charge $10 upgrade path, fuck it, whatever, man. I can go get a cheap version of the PS4 game and then upgrade for $10. Fuck it, whatever. So this is cool, but yeah, I'm gonna buy it eventually on PC. It's always on sale on PC because I do want to actually play the game. I want to get back to the game again. But yeah, it looks cool as hell, man. I'm happy that they're bringing it back out again. I know it's to fill a hole. I know a lot of people downplayed this show in part because of this game, but we knew it was coming. The smoke had been out there, and like I said, how they did it, $10 upgrade path, whatever. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. So let's get into something that's a little bit more important. Stellar Blade and the Goddess of Victory DK DLC. This was the game of the show. It's coming to PC, ladies and gentlemen.
This game, this was 7 out of my 8 right here, Steel.
This is it. This is what did it for you.
That was for PC. 7 out of 8, bro. With
the Nikkei DLC, that's what made it.
With the Nikkei DLC, but it's
well, between you and Decado, I know y'all going to be day one. You and Decado are going to be day one. Decado's lined up already. I think Decado said he pre-ordered it already.
Oh, I know he has, and I might have to get a new hard drive.
I will
for
too.
The photo mode. I might have to get an external hard drive just for the photo mode.
you say you're so petty. You're so petty about that.
I might have to.
I'm really excited for the game. Too? I'm really excited. I'm really excited for the game coming to PC. This game needs to be everywhere, man. It's another one of those. I want everybody to be able to get their hands on. I've heard good things about it. Again, June Showcase season, showcase time, E3 time. We getting Stellar Blade. There you go.
Oh God, the mod steal. Jeez.
Oh, it's about to be insane. I'm
Well, you
going
heard
to be
Shift Up
looking for
about-
the clothes. So.
Shift Up is like, oh, we expect it to sell more on PC. I'm like, yeah, of course you fucking do. It's going to sell a whole lot more on PC. Oh,
Yeah.
God, man.
It's going to do it's going to do phenomenal. Yeah, it will. Next up on the list, we had Blueprints, genre bending atmosphere, architectural adventure, where you explore an ever-changing manner of 45 shifting rooms. Blueprints.
That was a weird one. But I like puzzle games. But again,
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean, hey.
Yeah.
If you're into that. Eternal the Gamer said Immortals of Avium looks better than Avowed. Well, yeah. It's also a different art style.
Yeah, it's gonna be subjective.
I mean, graphics for graphics. I mean, yeah, Immortals of Avium looks better technically, but I don't think that's everything.
No,
Again,
and
it's
you
art
don't
style
it's a
as
different
well. Anyway.
style of game too. It's a different style of
Yeah,
game.
it is.
Immortals of Avium is not a Western RPG. Like,
I just thought that was an interesting comment, Eternal. Much love to you, man. I appreciate you coming through. Brett Bingham with the 5 bones. He says, I'm a porn stash rocking bounty hunting ranger mage in Avowed.
Congratulations, Brett Bingham. Again, you
It's
showed me your character. I don't understand you people. My character has to look good in games. I can't do that
Mine
shit,
too.
bro.
Mine too.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I
mean,
gave mine the curls and everything this
hilarious.
time.
Yeah, I saw that. It looked pretty damn good. It's hilarious and it does look ridiculous, but I just can't play a ridiculous character in a game. But I'm happy for you, Brett, because I know there's a bunch of you out there that love to do that shit. I just can't. I can't.
So
But it's
there
cool to
is
know that you can be a bounty hunter.
Blueprints.
It's cool that you can be a bounty hunter in Avowed. I did
No,
not
that
know they
is
had
cool.
bounty hunter stuff. That is dope. That's gonna be fun.
Next up on the list, we had Abiotic Factor. I didn't have anything to kind of add on with this one. Another one of those, kind of party style games.
Yeah, this looks like one
I
we were talking about this on PM to PM. It looks like a PS2 era game that the kids will somehow say is fucking fantastic because they play together and they stream it, and it's just so ridiculously dumb that people think it's cool. That's what this reminds me of. It reminds me of a Roblox game, but PS2 style graphics, whatever. Yeah, I didn't have anything to say about this one either. But happy for everybody who's excited. Go for it. Hunt down some aliens.
Decado says, I want a Stellar Blade mod that plays Sir Mix-a-Lot and 2 Live Crew as combat music. What the fuck? Come on, baby. Look at that girl with the taste. Do some. Yeah,
But do you guys remember Luke Skywalker before 2 Live Crew? That's the question.
I think I do.
That was Luke before he made 2 Live Crew. Luke Skywalker. You had to be, bro, to get that tape. You had to know somebody who knew somebody bootlegging shit back in the day, especially as white boys out in the suburbs. We didn't get that shit, but one of my buddies had Luke Skywalker. He used to play
That's
it on the
funny.
fucking bus, bro. Yo, never heard anything like it until that point.
Hey, again, it's all about modern music. How much they talk about it. Hey, look, they was giving it up back in the day, bro. Like,
yeah, but it was so outrageous that like you couldn't just pop on the radio. Now you can just pop on the radio and hear it.
no, it is more radio.
Yeah,
But
no.
either way,
There was
Come
groups
on,
that did it,
babe.
of course. All lined up in a single file line, taking our turns, waxing the girls' behinds. Oh, bro, you gotta know. You gotta know. Oh, something. It was something.
there you go, Fahid. Come on, ride it, train. Choo, ride it. You already know. All right. Next up on that list is another huge standout for me. Really like what they're doing with action games as of late. Tides of Annihilation. This one literally came out of nowhere. Don't know about Tides of Annihilation? Tides of Annihilation is when the streets of London are engulfed by an outworld invasion, the only survivor, Gwendolyn, discovers a mysterious power to command the legendary Knights of the Round Table. She's driven by vengeance and the desperate need to save her sister. She embarks on a high-stakes journey across two worlds, a shattered modern London and the mythical Avowed. I really love the style of this game. Loving what they're doing with the combat. Loving what they're doing with the mythos. Just seeing how expansive the game is. This game is not a Souls game at all. It is 100% an action game. So hopefully people will try this game out and get into it. But again, the fantasy elements is what always going to do it for me. Another good looking character, I think, in this one as well. It's a standout. Liking what she's doing with the magical knights, being able to combat the different abilities together. I think this dev said that they were motivated by Devil May Cry, Nier, and Stellar Blade.
Yep.
But definitely not Stellar Blade style as far as like Souls genre goes. It is definitely more action based. You can you look at the combat yourself,
which I'm happy.
There's something when I say that there's a difference between Souls games and action games. Yes, there is action in Souls games, but it's mostly how to tell the Souls-like games or Souls-light games. Souls-light is more so that kids carrying over some systems, but the Souls-like games have more of a stuck camera behind the character versus you having a hovering character on your character, where your character is like in this, where fights feel more kind of arena-based, right? Or things are more combo-based, right? Things are over the top. You're throwing enemies in the air. You're summoning this dude. You're summoning this dude. She's bringing ice glaciers out of the ground. Looks super dope, man. Tides of Annihilation looks fire. Well, how did you feel about this? This is literally the first time that we saw this game. And it was at a PlayStation showcase. And come to find out as well, this game is coming to Xbox, PC, and PlayStation.
I love the Arthurian Legends steel. There's been many takes on, because this is based on King Arthur. It is another take on the whole mythos surrounding that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's obviously set in obviously you can see it in the some of the shots. It's a modern day London, right? That has gone through something very magical, destruction, right? And has caused a rift or a gate to open up or something to that degree by the looks of it, because you saw the Tower of London, Big Ben was sitting there cracked and laying. So something like that has happened, but it is based on the Arthurian legends. And that's why we see the knights. But this is going to be a totally different take, obviously. And I love when people do this. It's like Liza P had a super different take on Pinocchio from anything else we've ever seen. That's this is the creativeness I love. Second of all, shout out to the East once again carrying. I know people will disagree with me on this, but listen, the East is carrying this industry right now in a lot of ways. The fact that we have these studios coming out of nowhere that is producing visuals, graphics, and now I think we've got enough examples where people said, well, yeah, but we don't know if it's going to play like that, that have shown up and actually have stuck the landing at this point. I'm going to trust what I see here, and I'm going to say that this thing is going to stick the landing when it comes to gameplay as well. This is absolutely amazing. The character design is absolutely incredible. Phenomenal. Once again, you don't have to be Stellar Blade half naked characters to still be beautiful. This main character, she's absolutely gorgeous. The way that she is drawn and animated, and that is fucking A+ for me, because again, I do like playing, especially in fantasy worlds, not real life worlds. Again, this is to escape real life. I do like classical beauty, and they've done a fantastic job with the main character here. The voice acting too, Steel, a little bit that we've seen out of this already sounds great. Good. I think it's dope as hell. So I am super excited. And then obviously at first I did think, because again, even rewatching now, doing the timed, and I know that's very loose and it's very weak argument, but when I see boss battles accentuating a dodge or a parry, a time dodge or a parry, and that obviously looking like a function of the entire battle, which some of these boss scenes that they cut to do look like that. I thought this was going to be another Souls-like, and I was like, oh, fuck. But now that they've come out and said what they said, and even Stellar Blade still has told me that, hey, you might not, Stellar Blade's pretty close to Souls, like it's like there. But I'm just saying now that it sounds like this is going to be more action-based, I will play this game, and I will play these games, and I'm going to play Stellar. You know, if they give me difficulty, ability to adjust the difficulty, because I can't.
Yeah, I think
will play
Stellar Blade has a difficulty.
It does,
well,
and that's the one thing I did point out to you. Some people did say that it had a difficulty thing, so I will play that way, and I'm not going to be. Again, you guys know me. I don't give a shit. It's not. I'm not here to impress anybody. I just want to play these games and want to be in these worlds. And this is another one. Still, now that I know it's more action, my hype level has gone up even more. This game looks gorgeous. I'm so happy this game was announced. And again, this was a big reason why the show was a standout for me and why I did give it an 8. It was a game like this. They came out of nowhere yet again, and just speaks to me on many, many different levels. So I can't wait for Tides of Annihilation. Can't wait.
Yeah, super dope. Biggest standout from the entire show for me, number one, and can't wait for that one to release. Gene says, must suck to be Pong at a time where a lot of games are leaning into a more difficult aspect due to Souls becoming so huge. Yeah, Pong's mentioned that.
Yeah, because I love everything about Souls games. I love everything from the art style. I love all that shit, bro. All of them appeal to me. Like the dark high fantasy shit that they get into. Bro, it's beautiful. Again, I've tried a lot of them. I tried Bloodborne. I tried all of them back in the day. But yeah, it does suck, MG. It does suck that I can't get into them, right? Like that. But that's okay. Again, I still love watching other people play them. I've lived vicariously through other people playing them. I've watched people play them. And I love the screenshots. I love the videos on them. And I'm happy for it. We have gotten a little Souls-like heavy for my liking right now. So the idea that we are going to get action games coming back, even difficult action games like a Ninja Gaiden coming back into the fold, this game right here, Tides of Annihilation, etc. The fact that we are getting more action games coming back speaks to me, because I will play the action versions. And again, I will just tune down the difficulty if I need to. Again, I'm not here to impress anybody. And I will just play them as button mashing action games like I like. That's what I will do, because I just enjoy the world so much. So I'm happy that this is starting to turn a little bit. We're seeing maybe a little bit of a comeback, especially if these games start doing well still. That's going to be the key. Why Souls like became so big is because they no longer were niche and they started selling big numbers, and everybody saw those numbers. And obviously From Software is the main carrier of, they're the creator of the genre, but they're the main ones who pushed it. But then other studios started going, we can do that. There's a big audience out there that wants to play these fucking hard ass games and wants to bang their head against the fucking brick wall and wants to try one button the whole game, or playing on a freaking running pad and beating the game. There's like this whole new genre created within the
guitar.
Genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are going way too.
It's like speed running back in the day that became big. Right now, it's like let's make this difficult game as difficult as fucking possible. Like the people beating it with no fucking armor, level 1.
I think that also
nuts. People are nuts. I'm impressed. But anyways,
I think on the opposite side of that too, it also demonstrates that the game can be made easier. Right.
Yep.
And again, that's the biggest misconception about Souls games is that, the games can be difficult, and some of the more linear games, they are more difficult. But it's more so literally about like how you build your character. And a lot of people, in Souls games especially, don't quite learn or understand how to make their character for whatever play style that they're going for, because it doesn't limit you. And I'm not saying, you got to play a certain way, but if you're going to do magic, you got to make sure that you're investing in the right things to be able to do that magic and learn how to do that. Because Elden Ring can be completely, literally the first 6 months of Elden Ring, where people were showing how trivial the game could be, depending if you got certain things or whatever the case. But again, you're also at that point looking up videos to find out how to make this game easier, because not everybody's going to have that experience from the jump. So, I mean, again, I 100% get where Paul's coming from,
and that's a design choice by From Software, which I appreciate. They allow you to break their games. They don't stop you from creating a broken
100%.
build, Right. And that is something that I've always found cool as an old school JRPG guy, again, who over leveled, OP'd my characters, right? In a games, and because we were taught in a lot of games, we got, the difficulty spikes in the old JRPGs were fucking stupid.
Oh, yeah.
People complain about difficulty
It's
spikes
so
now.
unfair.
Bro, you could be rolling and then
But
walk into a
devs-
boss and get,
Devs
so
have
we
admitted
learned
they purposely
did
used
that.
to do stuff like
Correct.
that. Yeah.
So we learned, and so I always have OP characters. I love feeling like a god as I'm walking through a game. I'm not one of those people that needs the game to be difficult. So I love that. I do appreciate, even because in Elden Ring, when I did start playing Elden Ring, when I was day one on Elden Ring, I started building that mage class, right? I started building that OP class that was wiping everything out. Like I actually honestly was, because it was dope. It was fun as fuck, right? I had my moments where I really loved it. But yeah, I just think it's cool that From Software allows you to break their games. I really do.
Yeah,
I think it's an awesome aspect. Yep.
The next game on our list is Metal Eden. Metal Eden, to me, reminded me of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
It literally reminded me of a cybernetic Doom Eternal, like a cyberpunk Doom Eternal. That's all that I thought about when I was watching this game. And I said, and the other thing that I thought about too is how ironic is it that PlayStation is creating their own version of Doom, or at least for this game. I'm not sure if this game is also going everywhere as well. This is one of the ones I missed out on. Well, as far as like getting those details, but again, I have to have some faith in it because it presented really well. And if I liked Doom, it's hard for me to believe that you wouldn't like a game like this, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, did you feel kind of some of those same things, Paul, when you saw it? Yeah, it was like moment to moment. That's all I was thinking about.
Moment to moment. And the funny part is now being on PC, you see how many of these games, Doom-inspired games, are made. And there's actually a lot of good ones that people, if they were on console, I think people would be like, holy shit, we get a lot of cool ass Doom games. On PC, they're like a dime a dozen. There's all these studios coming out. But this one stood out at the show too. And I was like, again, not that day one or anything. When I say this, it's not like holy shit, like this looks like the best thing ever. I'm just saying it like really stood out. Like when I was watching it, yeah, it's obviously Doom inspired. It's a first person, fast paced shooter. It's actually got a little of what's the other game with the wall running when you had the sword, you were like a cybernetic
Ghost
ninja.
Runner.
Ghost Runner, yeah. It had some of that in there as well, which again, a lot of games have done that. Now that I've been on PC, I've seen a lot of games do some of that stuff. But I just thought it really did set itself apart style-wise, for sure. The guns all looked fantastic. The shooting looked tight. Again, you never know until you actually get the controller in your hand. But it did look tight. It looked impactful. Enemies looked dope. Yeah, it just stood out. It was something that was like, oh, shit. When you saw it, it wasn't like it blended in with everything else. It was like, holy shit, this kind of looks cool, man. Something I would probably try out if I got the chance. So, yeah.
Yeah, Metal Eden looked really interesting, man. It was definitely wasn't expecting it.
Yep.
Another one that was interesting was a game called Mind's Eye. This is a game where AI and human greed collide. It's by IOI, or IOI partners at least, from what
they're publishing. They're
publishing it.
Yeah.
The game does look interesting. It does also look. I feel like something is off about it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what, but when the gameplay segments more so looked like it wasn't quite complete yet. Like there was something missing. I don't want to quite say that, it feels like there's not a soul to the game, but I just have an off feeling about it, but it is extremely interesting. I mean, it's a cover-based shooter, looks like futuristic, looks interesting, bigger battles. You're going to be able to drive in an open world city. The driving reminds me a little bit about how Cyberpunk felt while driving in third person. So, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It might feel a little bit better in here. When they were showing the car chase scenes, it didn't look organic to the game. I don't know. I think that's what it really is. It's like you can tell that maybe this is more CGI than gameplay. But again, like I've mentioned before, we are in an era where what you see in trailers is what you get. I also thought that the day before was going to be a decent game from what we saw, and it wasn't. So it looks interesting. I like the concept of it, but something does feel off about it. At least from when I saw the trailer, even watching it back now, just something is off about it. And Decado says it's too shiny and plasticky.
Yeah. I
didn't even mind that, but
it just reminds me of Double A game. Again, it looks like this is a new studio, by the way, Steel. It's called Build a Rocket Boy.
Okay.
It's actually founded by a former lead developer on Grand Theft Auto, former Rockstar.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. So, and he formed his own studio to make this game, obviously. And
interesting name.
Right. And so you see a blend, obviously. To me, it looked like GTA meets Cyberpunk meets iRobot, right? Because there was a lot of iRobot. I like that. There was a lot of iRobots in there, right? So that's what I went with. And to your point, yes, when I saw it, yeah, it looked like old school third person driving. It looks like some of the imperfect driving that we have seen,
which is fine.
Which is fine. And even the shooting, the third person shooting, some of those action sequences reminded me of like 360 era type, not graphics wise, because the graphics are obviously more up to date than that. Yeah. What I'm saying is that how it looked like the shooting was being handled kind of gave me that feeling of those old school, which doesn't bother me. Again, I love too many AA games to be bothered by that kind of stuff. I don't think this game is projecting itself as a AAA huge, game out the gate from this small studio that this is their first game from. I could be completely wrong. Maybe they have a budget of a AAA game. I just don't think so. But to me, I saw enough interesting things here that I'll be waiting on this. They didn't say 2025 on this one, did they, Steel?
Not from what I saw. Let me go to the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
It said summer 2025.
It does? Okay. Well, now
it says Mind's Eye, summer 2025, Mind's Eye .game.
Okay. Well, if that's the plan, I would imagine this game's probably going to get delayed on summer 2025. Unless, again, this is just a straight up AA game and they're going to drop it and it is what it is, the first game out the gate. I would say this one would probably need some more polish. But I guess we'll wait and see. But I saw enough cool, interesting concepts or things in there, Steel, where I was like, might be a fun little fucking game to drop into. But we'll wait and see. Again, not some massive.
I like the concept of it, man.
Yeah.
I really do.
The iRobot shit, the robots chasing you down and jumping on your shit and all that kind of stuff looks cool as fuck. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, holy shit. But yeah, I like the setting. Steel. And it looks like it's going to be a big city. There's some screenshots on Steam and stuff with the big city. And it looks like it's going to be like a GTA kind of city. So we'll see.
But will the world feel lived in? Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing that when Decado pointed that out as well.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's part of what, we see people driving around and stuff. And again, it's just, for me, this is the first time we're seeing the game. They're releasing this year, which I don't mind. Hey, I
don't mind either.
Fucking announce it and then release it if it's ready. But it's just very weird. We hadn't seen anything up to this point, and you couldn't give us a little bit more gameplay if you're that close.
Yeah,
a little bit. Maybe give us a little bit more of a slice. Maybe we'll get additional details come showcase season, come E3 season. But it did look dope. I thought it was interesting. So shout out to Mind's Eye. And then last but not least, we had Saros. Saros looked interesting as well. Again, I have played Returnal. I haven't beat Returnal. I actually have put it down quite a couple times, and not because it was hard or anything. I haven't even really tried to play Returnal like that. I've progressed my story a little bit in there with Celine. I think I got from the last thing what was the last thing that I remember seeing an astronaut dude waking up from one of my deaths to an astronaut. I went to the house, saw an astronaut dude, went downstairs or something like that. Anyway, it was really weird and really creepy. It was giving me fucking some strange vibes where I was starting to decide, do I really want to progress this fucking story? There's some weird shit happening because the gameplay is fine. I'm not creeped out by the gameplay. It's just the mind game, because there is that concept of it. If you're not familiar with Returnal, you're essentially on a cycle, and every cycle you have the chance to find out what happened in your previous cycles that's leaded to where you are now, because you don't realize that you're a part of that cycle, right? So finding dead bodies of yourself throughout the world, like just the conceptually Returnal is fucking dope as hell. Again, there's like a co-op game that I would say we would play as soon as possible. I do think Returnal is one of those, and I think as a duo, we probably would be able to rock it pretty hard and get it done. So, I mean, it has some difficulty to it, has some challenge. A lot of it is just, again, it's very schmuppish. It literally is. Like, if you know how to dodge bullets and stuff that are coming at you, if you've been playing Gabe for some time, Returnal was fun. Crow says, I want to go back to Returnal's Let's Play sometime. Hey, we might have to run it up or something, man. Again, I don't know where I'm going to fit it in that, because shit, I'm playing Avowed now, and I want to finish Avowed before I jump into Monster Hunter Wild, so I at least can feel good about that for me personally as a gamer. But yeah, I mean, I gotta find a place to fit it in, man. We'll see. Because this week it's gonna be a lot of Avowed outside of like personal stuff. So, but Sorrows looked really cool. I like the concept of it. From what they essentially gave us, it seems like the game is going to be very similar to Returnal, which is, I don't know how much exactly.
Evolution. They said it's going to be an evolution, right? That's what they said.
How much exactly it's going to be like that? I just, because they did mention some things. I forgot what the exact phrase was. But there is a similar concept, at least from what I got from the trailer. So I'm interested in this game as well. I think Housemarque did really good with Returnal. It didn't sell well, seemingly. I still don't know if it's reached 1 million copies, right? Again, I don't think sales are everything, but from a company who kind of has demonstrated that is something that they use as a key metric, it's just really interesting that they went ahead and greenlit this one as well, that we're not getting essentially a Returnal 2, we're getting an evolution of Returnal. But nonetheless, I mean, I like what I saw from it. Thought it was interesting. And Sorrows, Pong, I mean, how did you feel about what you saw from it, man? Was it appealing?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's so hard. You just get in the atmosphere, right? And again, I don't have a problem with these teasers. People want to see gameplay. People say these things are worthless. To me, they're not. I think you get an atmosphere feel, and obviously there's going to be a different atmosphere than Returnal was, right? And again, this is coming from somebody who hasn't played Returnal yet, but obviously I do have an interest in Returnal, and I really do appreciate what Housemarque does, and I do want to play Returnal. So just from the outside looking in, I thought they did a nice job with the trailer to give you the first brush of atmosphere within the game. Like you, Steel, this is what it's all about for a studio. This will be their fourth game, I think, third or fourth game now that Housemarque has done. They continue to grow, and each game gets a little bit bigger. Each game gets a little bit more impressive. So I think the future is bright for Housemarque, and I always love to see these studios coming up. So I can't wait to see gameplay and to see what they're going for. If it is going to be a, third-person bullet hell roguelike like Returnal was, or if they are just taking lessons learned from Returnal and they're going to expand on that a little bit more, but it's not going to be necessarily bullet hell, or it's not necessarily going to be like a roguelike. And what they're going to do with the story. Is it going to be another time loop type story where you're trying to figure shit out, or they're going to go a completely different route? But I think overall, just the sight of this dude lying on the beach, waking up with this brilliant red orange sun in the background, potentially being eclipsed or whatever the case may be, on this foreign alien planet, that I want to see more. Again, give me sci-fi vibes. I'm all about sci-fi. So yeah, I thought it was a great first showing, just as a tease from Housemarque, and a good way to end the show. Right, I think ending it with
strong
first party
with that one.
Yeah, and from a studio that a lot of people respect. And again, people could talk about it. Returnal didn't sell 10 million copies. It's not that type of seller. Housemarque isn't making those types of games. But that doesn't matter. Like, again, it's still a first party studio. There's still a lot of people who love Housemarque. Housemarque, within, the PlayStation community for sure. And even now on PC, as Returnal's been there, is starting to gather a fan base. And so I think you've got a little bit of excitement here to see what they're going to do. And it's not a Naughty Dog launch, right? It's not an Insomniac launch. It's not a Sony Santa Monica launch, but it is one of your first parties who's been building and been growing as a studio. So this is the next iteration. Got to see more, but I can't wait.
with all the games that were mentioned today for the Sony State of Play, as a gamer, it was easily an 8 out of 10. You know, if you want to take it for more so the comparison of, hey, what did first party give me? Why do I need to get a PlayStation? I still would tell you why to get a PlayStation, because these games are going to release on your platform. If you're already invested in that platform, you have more games coming than you did before. You didn't know about some of these games prior. And I get that, hey, some of these had announcements before. They're nothing new. Some of these may not be new to you, but there was enough that was new here that does interest people. Kind of the biggest thing was just having the solidifying announcements. There was a lot of announcements made on this in this State of Play as well, right? Release dates. That's what people find important. I understand that it may not be everything to you, but as somebody who really has never believed in the exclusivity of things and everything, unless I have these games that are exclusive that I can only play on this box, then all of it means nothing. That doesn't make sense to me if you're getting games that are going to release on your platform anyway. What else do you need to feel special? We don't live in this era no more. Do we want more people? We live in an industry where it is a known fact that the console side of it is tapped out. We are almost over halfway into this generation. And even with PlayStation can sell 100 million consoles. We're still going to reach the same 150 million between PlayStation and Xbox. The same 300 million between all three big players. Who Nintendo seems to be the only one that can push that line. We'll see what they do with Switch 2. But there's a lot of games that are coming out in our modern era that need to be supported, because there's already proof as well that enough people aren't buying these games. So let's find an audience who will. Let's release on PC. I'm not saying that PlayStation got to put their games on Xbox. Obviously, that is not their goal. And if you as an Xbox fan find that as something that is upsetting to you, I don't know what else to tell you. I have no interest in playing a single PlayStation game. Not day one, for sure. I will play it at my convenience when it feels reasonable to me. And with that, because people always go back to, well, if you're a gamer still, you should be invested in whatever platform so you can play it on release. I do not believe in owning something I'm not going to use, that I don't believe in, that I have no faith in. As a gamer, I'm getting my fix. Stellar Blade is going to come to PC. It's going to be a better game than what it was day one on PlayStation. Now, there's a lot of games that you could say that about. But isn't it a benefit to you as a gamer? I can say subjectively, Indiana Jones is going to be a better game on PlayStation 5, because the game is going to have 6 months plus of updates. Fantastic. If you want to say, oh, well, we got the better version, great. But you also, there was the whole narrative of, oh, well, we played this day one. We don't play those old games. Which we also come to find out is a lie, because statistics have proved that most people only play old games. Games that are older than 4 years, that have been out consistently. So if you want these newer games to continue to get the support that they need, just like Shohei Yoshida said, you need to support these remasters and remakes and all these other fantastical things that this publisher is doing. Now, it's ironic. Where's Marathon? I'll put that on the showcase. You had your main dude come out not that long ago. I want to say a month ago or so at this point. Maybe it was a couple months ago at this point. Talk about, hey, this is Marathon, this and the other thing. There's no tease, no gameplay, no nothing. I know it's been tested in the background. There's live service things that are happening behind the scenes, but there are also still games being released on the platform where depending on what the type of fan you are, you're getting them. And for PlayStation, you're getting those games. So to tie in, and we'll kind of wind it down off of here, because it was Trey Bone earlier that brought up the point. It's also sad to hear no one on the Xbox side cares about exclusivity and making your console platform feel important just because Phil says so. Exclusivity. Exclusivity is falling to the wayside. Second and third party publishers have been constantly, Square Enix being the biggest example. People thought that PlayStation will always, if anything, PlayStation will buy Square Enix before they release games on Xbox. Now those games are coming to Xbox. Even Square Enix said that they have to. They need to expand out. They need to reach a wider audience. Exclusivities mattered, but not today the same way that they meant before. GTA 6 is going to be the biggest game out. It's not exclusive. Will not be exclusive. It's also an anomaly. Can't compare it to everything. But it's a multi-plat game that is going to sell hardware. Whether you believe in that or not. But it is a good example of exclusives not being as important. Forza Horizon 5. It's going to release on PlayStation coming into the spring. Forza has been out for 4 years on the Xbox side of things. PlayStation gamers are going to get a version of a game that is going to have so much content in it, you won't know what to do with it. At least 100 hours worth of content. Going to have more people playing online with crossplay than ever before. As an Xbox gamer, I appreciate that. Because as somebody who is a fan of the ecosystem, as someone who has been a fan of multiplayer, Xbox, Microsoft have been always the one that were speaking to me directly. And I've always wanted more players in my ecosystem. More people I can play with, more people I can run it with, more people that I can body, whatever the case might be. Gears needs to go everywhere. And Gene says in chat, exclusives are great if they're quality. Sure. But what's the point of exclusives if people can't partake? And you're talking about things being more expensive than ever before. That doesn't make sense. You can't afford to make things exclusive anymore. Because you won't get the next God of War if your live service game don't hit. If you're not bringing games from over the hill. If you seem like you don't have a strategy, like Pawn was mentioning earlier, 8 live service games have been canceled. You have studios that are in limbo right now. Bloodborne still has not been announced. Or you couldn't do a Bloodborne remaster. And again, there's also reports out there that From Software wants to be the ones to fully facilitate that. And that's why that hasn't been something that has happened yet. And yes, for him, exclusive, it is called exclusive for a reason. But for what? I just don't believe that the game needs to be the thing to sell your hardware anymore. I feel, and again, we'll continue to reiterate this, especially coming off of this showcase, State of Play, that more people have an access than ever before to play games that they wouldn't have not been able to play otherwise is a benefit to everybody in the industry. And we can get true competition with hardware with a company who is already a hardware company, so it should not be a problem for them. You can truly see who will fight for the living room. We can truly see if it's just brand power or not. So, coming off the heels of the State of Play, I'm excited that it's not just a Sony exclusive showcase kind of thing. that these games are coming to multiple platforms. I'm also excited because these games will come to PC, an ecosystem that I have access to. It's part of my gaming ecosystem. Some of those games are also going to come to Xbox. The wife going to be playing Monster Hunter Wilds, on the Xbox while I'm playing on PC. There's going to be full cross-play. There's just so many benefits, at least from what I am seeing, out of the gaming industry in the direction that everything is moving into, that I'm going to continue to stand behind, that I'm going to continue to speak up for, and finding more ways to get people access is the proper direction. So yeah, man. Pong, I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to add in there? With a little bit of a diatribe there, but nonetheless, it's just seeing how the state of play has gone, the amount of games that have been released. Again, it's always been about the games. I know we always get back to the games. We spend most of our shows first 2 hours sometimes. It's just talking about straight games, and us getting even more in the community and more people to being able to experience more, especially with the growth that the industry has seen on PC as an example. Anything else that you would like to, throw in there, tie in, and any last bits about the state of play?
Selling all my consoles. I'm quitting the industry. I hate this fucking hobby because there's no exclusivity anymore, and it sucks. Everything sucks now. Everything's mid, or it sucks. So what's the point? What's the point anymore? Companies aren't trying, so there's no point in doing this farce anymore and pretending that I like this hobby. So fuck them all. Get out of here. Just go. This is my last podcast ever. I don't want to do this anymore. Listen, said it a million times, said it a million times again, is I guess if we're going to continuously until this industry evolves into its next form, because right now it's not in its next form. It's in an in-between stage in a lot of ways. So I guess these conversations will keep being had. I don't like exclusives going completely away. I think there are benefits to exclusive. I will always say that. I do wish we were still having a direct one-for-one competition, specifically between PlayStation and Xbox. I do wish that was still happening. Not a console war narrative per se. You guys know I don't like that shit, but I do think that competition, direct competition, does drive for better products in a lot of ways, and that includes games. I do think that when you have two companies engaged in a competitive market, a single market like a console, I'm not talking about the entire market like we do now, but a single market like the console space, that I do think that some of the best efforts do come from that type of atmosphere when you're talking about first party studios and publishing. So I do think that in a lot of ways, I wish that was still here. However, as I've said now for years, that is if this, or at least over the last year and a half for sure, since Xbox has started changing their ways and Microsoft has made a decision they're going to make, nothing's going to change their minds. They're not going to go back. Okay. They're not going to go back. If everybody stopped playing their Xbox today, okay, and everybody sold off their Xbox consoles today, do you think Microsoft would suddenly go, oh, no, we're going to bring back exclusives. We're going to stop making games third party and we're going to bring back exclusives and we're going to do that? No, they would say, okay, cool. We're done making hardware and we are now a full-time third party publisher without hardware. And we're just going to put our games on everybody else's platforms and we just won't make our platform anymore. Because the corporations don't fucking care. The money men don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. That's why I think this continuous conversation and getting, again, I understand the frustration. Obviously, again, I went through this with Sega. As I've also stated, I was a Sega fanboy. That if this was back then and we had podcasts and we had social media back when I was a Sega fanboy, I would be console warring with a bunch of motherfuckers out here over why Sega was the best. And I woke up one day and my Dreamcast was no longer being made by Sega. And Sega completely exited the hardware business with no warning whatsoever. And those games that I had bought in my Dreamcast, that was it. And I had to keep that Dreamcast. I still have my original one, in fact, if I wanted to play Dreamcast games. That's not where we're at anymore. This industry is shifting. Okay. Again, Nintendo's going to do what Nintendo does because it works for their business model. They can do that. They sell games at a ridiculous rate. Their attach rate for their first party exclusives is fucking outrageous. If they didn't have that attach rate for their first party exclusives, you damn well better believe they'd be putting their games at least on PC. The only reason why they do what they do is because they make cheap hardware. They make a ton of money off the hardware. They make money off of everything. That's their business model. It works. Much love and success to Nintendo. Again, all the respect in the world. And in fact, a little bit more respect now because they're actually got me interested in the Switch 2 for the first time in decades. I'm interested in Nintendo. Sony's in between Xbox and everybody else, as I said before. Sony's going to stay longer in this old model because their console sales continue to move. Hiroki just came out and said that they actually did not expect the console sales to be as strong as that they currently are, that the Pro obviously had boosted the numbers even beyond what they thought they were going to get out of it. Hiroki just said that. I've said all along in every single conversation, it's nothing to take away from Sony. I think it's funny that the fans all just go, but my PlayStation console sales, when Hiroki has also admitted that that's not enough. If the games themselves, the software themselves that do cost for their bigger games, 100 million, 200 million, 300 million plus, aren't going to sell as much as they need them to. He said it's not sustainable. So they're going to look elsewhere and try to get different streams of income. And Hiroki just pointed out that they've seen some very good success on PC. And so I expect the PC to change. None of this is going to change. None of these companies care about what we think as gamers. None of these companies care if you think about exclusivity and you love exclusives. Nobody does. Sony's going to hold on to the old ways for as long as possible. They're not transitioning as fast. They didn't prepare for the future like Xbox did. Now, Xbox's future might be completely wrong. Sony might be right. That could totally play out. Again, nobody's got the perfect crystal ball here. But just from what we've seen, there's only so many different directions you can go in this industry, and making $300, $200 million games, AAA games, isn't sustainable if you're only going to sell X amount of copies and you're not going to be able to grow your main install base beyond the norms, which for PlayStation is about 100 to 120 million consoles. If you're not going to be able to grow beyond that, and Sony doesn't believe they're going to be able to grow beyond that, then you're kind of capped. And that's what everybody's talked about. But the game prices keep going up, and it's going to get more expensive unless they do something to change there. So exclusives are a dying breed. And Sony, for their, for what they like to do, the big thing shift, Steel, I think more importantly, is that third-party exclusives are starting to go away of the dodo bird as well. It's getting harder and harder to convince a third-party company to take a payoff to keep their game off of a platform or two platforms, even for a time period. It is getting harder to look at the stats and to look at what happens to games that do that and convince a Capcom or to convince a Sega or to convince name your pick. We just saw Square Enix abandon that completely. It gets harder to convince them to take that money bag and not put their game everywhere. And I think that's the biggest shift here of all, is that the third parties have learned that they've got to build out their fan base elsewhere. To your point, Steel, and the point that I've also agreed with when I look at this from a gamer standpoint, because again, none of this affects me as a gamer. I'll play games wherever I want to play games. It doesn't fucking matter to me. Again, if I got an opportunity, if it's a game I want to play and I can play it, cool. I'll play it. Don't care what plastic box it's on. But the big thing from your point of view, Steel, and the truth is that exclusivity going away from a gamer standpoint does help because it eases the access issue that a lot of people have, where right now, obviously, a PlayStation game, you've got to have a PlayStation most likely or a PC in a large portion of their catalog. Mm-hmm. You've got to have that. If exclusivity does go away more and more and the lines are blurred more and more, and again, that's what Xbox is doing the most of, is blurring the lines, and my games become available in more places, even if I bought them in a different ecosystem, then to the consumer, to the gamer, that is better for me overall. That is better value because I can play my game in more places. It is better because we generally start getting things like our saves in the cloud, which we can then boot up anywhere on different platforms and pick up right where we left off. So all of that to me is a benefit as a consumer. And again, from the third party standpoint, same thing. I get to play more games, more places, depending on what I've got. And I don't have to own every system to play every game anymore, which is what it was back in the day. If I wanted to play every game, I had to have Nintendo, Sega, right? Or I had to have Nintendo, PlayStation. I had to have Nintendo, PlayStation, 3DO, Sega Dreamcast, right? Like again, we are losing the fractured part of it. And then also to your point, Steele, as we've talked about, for the online gaming aspect, for the communities that are based around these games, that keep these games alive, or bringing back IP and trying to do something new with a Halo, with the Gears of War, and trying to rebuild a community. There's too many games nowadays to rely on one part of the fan base. So those types of games, the multiplayer games, the games that rely on that stuff, as we found out with MMOs, the more people that you invite in, the better chance you have of that game finding success, lasting success. Because again, you can find minimal success. You can find a good success out the gate, but then it drops off and all of a sudden the game is instantly dead. But if you open it up to more people, the more chances are that that game is going to survive even with all the competition out there these days. It's not going to mean success for every game, but it's going to mean that you have a better chance at that. And for me as a gamer, for IPs that I enjoy, that I do want to see come back to life again, and I want to see them stick around and maybe get more content, the more people that have an opportunity to play those games, the better chance that all of that is going to happen in this day and age. Because right now, the way the industry is, how big it is, and how much software games are being produced on a yearly basis, it is like no other time in history. That's why I call it the golden age. The PC market got over 12,000 games released on the PC last year, Steele. Like, that's just stupid. The amount of opportunity for people to find a game that they love has never been greater than it is right now. But that also means the opportunity for a game to never find fans and to fail is greater than ever before. So you have to, as a developer, as a publisher, find every single advantage that you can get. And that means one of the biggest ones you can do is opening it up to more people in more places so that they can find your game and potentially fall in love with it and play it. And I think that's the biggest shift in mindset that we've seen in this industry. Whether or not that all works out, we won't know. This industry is still ripe for a contraction. This industry is still ripe for a big time return to closer to what we used to have in terms of size. It is. It's not a solid foundation. There's a lot of risk, and we've seen that. The layoffs have proven that this industry is bloated. But I think that the companies, one of the ways they can do it is by getting rid of exclusives and selling their games in more places, putting their games in more places. And again, is it going to work for everybody? No. Is it the golden egg? Is it the golden arrow that cures everything or solves everything that this industry has a problem with? No, it's not. They have massive problems with game development right now. And they've got to fix those pipelines. They've got to fix the cost. They've got to fix all of that because it's not sustainable. But is it a good Band-Aid potentially for a lot of people? Yes, it is. It really is. And we find that out now. We're seeing those kind of successes happen. And again, all you got to do really is look at Sega and Atlas and what Atlas has found by putting their games finally on Xbox. Even though people can say, well, it's only 30 million, even though people can say, well, Xbox players don't play JRPGs or they don't play Eastern style games. All you have to do is look at how much bigger Persona got and their other franchises got when they started putting them on Xbox and made that a thing. You could tell the popularity boost. You can see it in the communications. You can see it in the talking points. And again, I think there's more examples than that. I'm just pointing that one out as an easy one, as a company who resisted for a very long time making their games multi-plat, had stuck to that exclusive formula for a long time, and then opened up to a new fan base and found more fans, which no company is going to say isn't worth it. So I think in the long run, this is what we're looking at. It's going to be, for some, a fast shift, for others not. If you're in the category that still wants exclusives, I feel you. If you're in the category that bought into what Xbox was selling at the beginning of the generation, I have said time and time again, I feel your anger and I completely understand. I'm not one of the people who says you should just deal with it and suck it up and you shouldn't have any anger or frustration because this is just the way it is. Yes, ultimately it is the way it is and nothing's going to change, but I feel the frustration and anger because you were sold on something that you believed in. You invested in an ecosystem based upon that belief and the company pulled the rug out from you under you within a half a generation and did a complete 180 on what they were telling you they were going to do. And to me, I'm never going to defend Big Corp. It is wrong. It is fucking wrong that they sold you on one thing and then weren't transparent and did a full rug pull and said, oh, by the way, yeah, all those exclusives we promised you, all these big acquisitions we made that we promised you was for you guys, not really for you guys so much anymore. Yeah, you still get them. You still get them in Game Pass. And again, you guys know how I feel about Game Pass, biggest value in gaming. But for those of you that were in this ecosystem because you wanted those exclusives, right? Yeah, sorry, that's not going to be the case anymore. We're putting our games everywhere. Again, that sucks. It's business, and they don't give two shits about you. But as somebody who's been through that, I feel you, and I do understand. I went too long, Steel. We got to get everybody out of here.
No, you're good. That was actually a perfect breakdown in a pretty ass bow to put on top of everything. Ladies and gentlemen, that was going to be the main things we wanted to get into today. State of play was the crux of it. I more so wanted to get into the games portion of it, man. Why we were interested in it, what pulled our attention to kind of go from there. Fahim says, so you admit Phil lied. I think Pong has spoken to that before, that it changed. Yeah, Pong said that multiple times. So I get that. I don't know if that's what you.
What are you talking about? I was dancing around the ABK news, and now I'm anti-corp. Again, Nixie, this is so weird, man. That you've been here for as long as you have, and I still got to chuckle. And I just wonder how much of a bias you have when you listen that you honestly don't hear. And again, it happens. Like communication isn't perfect, and maybe I don't explain everything the exact way I should to come across on my opinions, but nothing has changed whatsoever. I said straight up that anybody can go out and buy anything. I have zero problem with people buying corporate shit, doing things like business and going and buying other companies.
Followed up with a JK too, Paul.
Oh, okay. Okay. Jesus, man. Sometimes, Nixie, sometimes I just wonder, brother. Again,
you shut up one baby.
It's so weird, bro. It's so you get me because you do come at me at certain times, and then other times you do the JK. I love you too, Nixie, and I do. And again, that's why I even speak on it, because I do respect everybody in this chat. I respect everybody that comes out and listens to us, and we've always done that. But man, I'm just like, yo, where are you getting this shit now? Jesus, man.
And again, the biggest thing
again,
too
it's
is
been weird. No, it's been real quick, Steve. It's been a weird generation. We have never had a generation like this. Ever, right? And I'm not on record from previous generations because I didn't do podcasting. And again, podcasting wasn't big in previous generations. So it's always hard to read people who do talk a lot. And we do talk a lot. And I've been talking a lot for nearly over 4 years now. I've been talking a lot. And there has been massive changes within this industry. You can go back 3-4 years ago and hear me say that I thought this generation was going to dictate the future more than any other generation. We had long conversations about that. I did not know it was going to go down this way. And of course, did I take Phil and Microsoft and Xbox at their face value when they were telling me what they were doing and what the plans were, and that they were going to compete one for one? And even through the ABK trial, when they were talking about, when we had Matt Booty emails saying we can outspend PlayStation, like, did I take that as face value that they were going to do that competition one for one and that we were still going to have exclusives? Because you guys all know I was never the dude who said Call of Duty was going to be exclusive ever. I argued the first night that we had that conversation over on Riskit's channel. I was the one getting absolutely destroyed for saying that they might not make Call of Duty exclusive. right? So I was never that dude, but I'm saying that did we have this really weird transition mid-gen now with a company like Xbox doing a complete 180 from the beginning? Abso-freaking-lutely. And everybody who wants to sit back and say, "Oh, but we all told you so. We all told you so." None of you were in the fucking boardrooms. Yeah, you guys made an educated guess. You speculated in the right way of what ultimately would happen with Microsoft made a massive acquisition like ABK, that it could transform their entire vision. And that's exactly what happened, right? It was the accelerant to their entire plans that sped everything up. So absolutely, if you were on that side of the acquisition talk and you were like, "Oh, this is going to change everything. Microsoft's going to do this. They're going to go third party. They're going to want their money back." You were correct. And I was wrong for suggesting that they would make a go of it first with Phil's plan as Game Pass as the main vehicle, and that they would try to see what exclusivity with all of these studios would do. Right. I really thought they would give that a go, at least till the end of this generation, to see what they could hit. And obviously that was not the case. So there has been really big changes. And if you go back to watch any of us who've been talking a lot, yeah, you're going to see that we also evolved with it because we had to. Because again, no matter what I want, this is what's happening. So I'm not going to sit back and deny that it's happening and be like, "Oh no, this is all just fake, folks. They're not actually going third party. This is a whole game. This is 6D chess out here that Microsoft and Xbox are playing." No, the fuck they are. They're doing what they're going to do. And so as a reality, as a gamer, because again, as much as some people want to say that I'm a pony bot, or as much as people want to say that I'm an Xbox fan and that that I am part of the console war, I'm genuinely not. Because again, if Xbox died tomorrow, I wouldn't be out here crying. I would be sad that the competition's gone, right? But I certainly would not be dying. Same for PlayStation, same for Nintendo, because I've already seen it happen multiple times. I've been through this. The industry has almost died twice at least since I've started playing games. So I've watched all this happen. I've watched this evolve, but I'm none of those things. I'm just a gamer at heart. But do I have biases? Of course I do. I think Xbox is giving me the best value and they're giving me the games that I want. So yeah, of course I'm going to be pro Xbox side, I guess, as much as I'm going to be, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be critical. That's why I've been called a pony bot, because I've been fucking critical of Xbox and gotten destroyed for it. Stupidly. Again, I don't give two shits, but I just think it's funny as hell. But yeah, man, a lot has changed. And there's going to be, for those of us that have talked about this shit, it's going to be a lot of differences if you go back even 2 years, 3 years. You're going to hear a lot of differences in how we speak on things. Just, that's the reality, man. Shit change. Sorry, Steve. I'm keeping this longer. You got to go.
No, you're good. You're good, man. Yeah. Again, I think we've been nothing but 100% consistent. That's why when people do throw or try to say disingenuous takes and stuff like that, it's like, I could just tell that, I mean, you haven't been tuned in. And if you say that you have been tuned in, then maybe you just don't take what we're telling you as factual information or what we actually believe. So that's what I find more interesting than anything, which again is also part of the reason why I like bringing in conflicting thoughts, right? When we're talking about something, especially for me, I don't mind somebody saying that, "Steve, I don't agree with you. I think exclusives matter and exclusive for these reasons, exclusive. But I'm always going to be consistent in telling you that, hey, this is why I feel the way that I do. This is the perspective that I'm coming from. I'm always, and continue. And then we can have that conversation. So dope fucking show today, ladies and gentlemen. Greatly appreciate everybody for coming out. I was going to do this day in gaming, but we definitely need to wrap things up here. So we'll skip on it this week. We'll jump into it next weekend. But ladies and gentlemen, episode 177 is in the books 100%. And not only that, but every Saturday morning you can catch us right here on Living Split Screen, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time. I am one of your hosts, Steel Rain. That T is a 7 everywhere. Mr. Live Runner Cut himself. And if you want to follow anything that I got going on, the biggest thing is I'm going to continue to playing through Avowed. I'm going to see how much I can jump into it. Hopefully I'll be able to complete it this upcoming week, so I can start prepping some more for Wilds. I'm also going to start finishing up some of the things that I want to set up for the Discord. If anybody has kind of some ideas or whatever, things that they feel is going to be dope for the Discord, let me know. Kind of new to it. Again, trying to set it up a certain way so that it feels good. And no, Fahim, I have not seen Captain America. I don't be watching movies in TV like that, man. I mean, this is my hobby is the games, man. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Again, Monster Hunter Wilds is on the horizon. I suggest anybody to please go play the open beta. It is also out this weekend. It's going to be the last weekend that it's going to be out. They actually gave it an additional day. So I don't think the beta is supposed to end until the 18th of February. So definitely check it out. Play with a couple weapons, get into the training mode, see how you feel, and then kind of go from there. And there'll be a bunch of streams from that coming on the personal channel and on Live Split Screen afterwards. So those are the main keys. But Paul, let the beautiful people know where they can find you. Great episode this week, man. And yeah, man.
Yes, sir. No, thanks for everybody for being here. Again, great episode. Thank you all. Again, you guys make this show go more so, everywhere, not just on Living Split Screen, but again, we're nothing without you all. So nothing but love and respect. And exactly like Steele always says, again, we welcome the discourse, love it. And again, I think it's fun and it gets the conversation going in directions that we didn't think it was going to go in. And sometimes we do that ourselves, but a lot of times you guys bring that energy and we appreciate it so much. It's a part of why we did this show from the beginning. So thank you all for joining me and Steele on another episode of Living Split Screen. And you guys know how to find me, Pong Soul, everywhere. So follow me and I'll follow you back. And then, of course, if you guys haven't heard, the Shop Podcast is back, except it is not Saturday night. Sunday. The Shop Podcast has moved to Sunday and is also going to be earlier in the afternoon. So it's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time. The Shop Podcast is back, and it'll be PTK Blam's channel, of course. So it's Blam, it's Fuzzy, it's myself, and this week for the return, Mav is going to join us as well. So shout out to brother Mav. He's going to roll on through. So the Shop Podcast is back again Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time. Be there. Come by if you got a chance. Show some love to PTK. It's going to be good to be back talking to him and Fuzz for sure. And, of course, Mav this week. So that is big news. And, then, of course, next week it starts all over again. Tuesdays, it's Double Barrel Gaming, the channel. Boomstick, the man, 5 days a week. But all good things green on Tuesdays for Xbox Factor Podcast. Join him and the crew there, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. And my week, of course, starts Thursday nights, p.m. in the p.m. Pong and Mav in the PM. And that's another two-man show where we just catch up on the week. We had a good show this week talking about the state of play, of course. But that happens every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, unless, of course, Mav or I got something going on. We play with the starting times from time to time. But again, join us PM in the PM. And then Friday nights, we didn't have a show last night, but Xbox Ultimate back on the Fun Speculation Network every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time for those shows where we get the family together, have lots of good laughs. But we also have a lot of good talk too as well. But otherwise, everybody, it is the golden age of gaming. So please, whatever you're playing, and there's a ton of it to play, get out there, play what you love what you play, and I will talk to you all real soon. Great to see everybody coming out. Steele, get us out of here, brother.
Much love, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all be safe out there. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll catch y'all gaming. Peace.